It all began on a very cold night when snow was swirling around. Suddenly, my phone rang. On the other end was my mother-in-law, and she was furious. She shouted at me, blaming me for my sister-in-law's terrible situation. "You need to take responsibility. Why did you leave my daughter?" she yelled, making me feel terrible. "My name is Amy, and I'm 33 years old. I live with my husband, Zach, who has parents and an older sister." That phone call changed my life completely. My mother-in-law cried, "Give me back my lively girl. I swear I'll make you pay for this." I tried to calm her down, saying, "I don't know what you're talking about." Even in my confusion, I wanted to understand what was happening, but it was hard to talk to her. She just kept shouting, "Why didn't you help her? Why did you leave her?" My mother-in-law wouldn't listen, even when I asked her to slow down. Then my father-in-law got on the phone. He said, "Amy, you need to understand what you've done. Our daughter has severe injuries, but she's not in danger. Why did you let her suffer?" I was confused and told him, "I'm sorry, but I really don't know what you're talking about. What happened?" He looked surprised that I had no idea, but he finally started to explain. My sister-in-law, a single mom, lived about a 20-minute walk from us. She had a boyfriend who often got angry and hurt her. The night before, he had been especially violent. Fearing for her life, she grabbed her child and ran outside into the snow without a place to go. She thought of her brother, Zach, and rushed to our house for help. When she rang the doorbell, Zach answered. My sister-in-law stood outside, clearly in distress, holding her child. Her face was bruised, and she was struggling to breathe. Anyone could see something was wrong, but Zach didn't seem to care. He looked annoyed and said, "If I let people in without asking Amy, she'll get mad. Sorry, but you need to go home. I don't want to deal with her anger." My sister-in-law was shocked by his response, but she needed to find somewhere safe. In tears, she pleaded for money to stay in a hotel since she had left in a hurry and didn't have her phone or wallet. Zach replied, "I don't have that kind of money. There's cash in the house, but Amy would never let me use it without asking. If I did, she'd divorce me. You need to find another place. It's too cold for me to stay outside, so I'm going back in." And he shut the door, leaving her in despair. Feeling hopeless and scared for their lives, my sister-in-law trudged back through the snow, reluctantly returning home. My sister-in-law suffered even worse violence from her angry boyfriend. He beat her until her face was unrecognizable, and he even kicked her child, causing him to lose consciousness. She tried to hold on to her boyfriend to stop him, but the violence only got worse. Her screams and the sounds of breaking dishes echoed through the neighborhood. A passerby heard the commotion and realized something was wrong, so they called the police. After that, my sister-in-law and her child were found, beaten and collapsed, and were taken to the hospital in an ambulance. While they were conscious, they were seriously injured and hospitalized, with doctors saying it would take a month for them to fully recover. I got home late last night from work, and my sister-in-law didn't show up after I arrived. If I had been there, I would have never turned her away. I believe that if I had seen her in such a state, I would have immediately let her in and called the police for help. I don't understand why my in-laws think I was the one who refused to help her. On top of the shock of what happened to my sister-in-law, it was hard to accept that my in-laws were crying and blaming me for it. I felt very confused, even with my father-in-law's constant accusations. I knew I had to clear up this misunderstanding. I frantically explained. I wasn't home when my sister-in-law came by. I worked late at the cafe I run. If I had been home, I would have noticed something was wrong and let her in. I would never turn her away. Please give me time to figure out what happened. Although he didn't fully believe me, he seemed to calm down and hung up the phone. That day, I was busy at my cafe, trying to develop a new menu. I had told Zach when I expected to be home, but I ended up working longer than planned. I missed the last subway and had to take a taxi, arriving home after midnight. When I got home, I saw Zach, but he didn't mention anything about his sister. I was confused about why he acted that way, so I confronted him after he came home from work that night. His response shocked me. I could tell something was wrong when my sister-in-law showed up, but I was about to enjoy my cold beer and wanted to close the door quickly since it was freezing outside. I didn't think there was anything I could do. I felt frustrated by Zach's selfish excuse. "Didn't you feel anything when you saw her like that? Why couldn't you at least let her in? She's been through so much since you turned her away." When I explained his sister's condition, Zach justified his actions by saying, "Remember how you used to complain when my parents came over without notice? I thought I was being considerate by not letting her in, thinking you wouldn't like it. What did I do wrong?" It turned out he thought I would be annoyed if his sister showed up unannounced, so he sent her away. I asked. Why didn't you lend her any money? You could have done that much, right? He replied. I was surprised when she asked for money. I'm short on cash before payday, and I just lost money playing slots. I only had about $10 in my wallet. If I gave her our household money, I knew you would get mad, so I said no. I don't see anything wrong with that. I was shocked. I had always thought Zach was a bit self-centered but had good qualities too. I had been trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but now I realized that was a mistake. He couldn't make good decisions because he always thought of himself first. He had no compassion for others, not even for his sister. He cared more about his drinking than her distress. It was too late for me to realize this now. He didn't seem to feel guilty or responsible for his sister being rushed to the hospital. From his perspective, she would have ended up hurt no matter where she ran. At least she's safe in the hospital now. We're both safe, thanks to me, right? He talked as if it wasn't a big deal. His heartless comments made me feel like I was losing my mind, so I decided to stop talking to him. Holding back my anger, I told my father-in-law about Zach's irresponsible behavior towards his sister the night before. When he heard what I said, Zach's father lost control and shouted, "There's no way my Zach would do that to his own sister. You're lying. Stop making up stories. Amy, are you trying to make Zach look bad to escape your guilt? If you're going to say such things, show me proof." He refused to listen to me and blamed me for everything. I endured his accusations while desperately trying to figure out how to prove my innocence. If things stayed this way, I would be seen as a monster, while Zach, the real culprit who turned his sister away, would feel no guilt. I couldn't tolerate that. I remembered that my sister-in-law had arrived at our home around 9 p.m. that night. After thinking it over, I found something that could prove I wasn't at home. My cafe had a security camera, and the footage clearly showed me working alone until around 11 p.m. that night. Armed with this footage and a taxi receipt showing the time I got home, I went to my in-laws to prove my innocence. "I was at my shop when your daughter came home. Do you believe me now?" I asked, hoping they would finally understand. They probably didn't want to believe it, but with clear evidence, they had no choice. Zach's father trembled and muttered, "So Amy wasn't home then?" Despite their shock, Zach's parents quickly called him in to find out the truth about that night. As soon as he arrived, they demanded, "Why did you drive your sister away?" Just like before, Zach tried to shift all the blame onto me, claiming he thought I wouldn't want his sister in our home. Hearing this, his father said, "We already know Amy wasn't home after that time, but your sister says she saw a woman in the house. How do you explain that?" I was speechless. If there was another woman in our home at 9 p.m., there was only one possible explanation. "Wait, Zach, what's going on? Who is this woman?" I asked, my voice shaking. Zach's face turned pale as he squirmed under the questioning from both his parents and me until he finally confessed everything. When I told him I would be late because I was working on a new menu, he saw it as an opportunity to bring his mistress home. He knew I often came home after midnight when I was focused on work, so he felt safe inviting her over. But when his sister suddenly showed up asking to be let in, he panicked and drove her away to keep his affair a secret. "What were you thinking? You betrayed Amy and left your sister out in the snow. Why didn't you lend her any money? Explain yourself." His father's anger was intense. Zach admitted the real reason he hadn't given her any money. He actually had plenty of cash left but didn't want to lend it to her because he wanted to buy a bag and shoes for his mistress. He didn't want to upset her for the sake of his sister, so he quickly got rid of her by shutting the door. I was furious, but Zach's parents were even angrier. "Before being a brother or a husband, you lack basic human decency. As parents, it's our responsibility that you grew up to be this way, but we cannot tolerate this. From today on, we are cutting ties with you. Don't ever show your face to us again." Zach's father disowned him. In the same vein, I said, "I'm divorcing you. You cheated on me and put your sister's life at risk by leaving her out in the snow. I can't live with someone like you anymore," I said. Zach was shocked to be disowned and confronted with a divorce all at once. He started begging for forgiveness, crying, "I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Please forgive me." He clung to his father's leg, but his father shook him off, saying, "What you did is the absolute worst thing in our eyes. None of us, his parents or I, could ever forgive Zach." It turned out he had been having an affair with the other woman for a year. The mistress was a coworker whom he had secretly brought to our house when I wasn't around. It was infuriating to learn that I had been betrayed behind my back for so long. Zach even tried to blame his treatment of my sister-in-law on me, which only fueled my anger. I had no second thoughts about divorcing him. I made Zach sign the divorce papers and submitted them right away. After that, I went to a law firm, hired a lawyer, and filed for damages against both Zach and his mistress. I also called Zach's boss, who had been our matchmaker at our wedding, and through my tears, I told him we were getting a divorce. I explained everything about Zach's affair. His boss, a man who valued human decency, had repeatedly warned Zach at our wedding to never betray his wife. So, when he learned about the infidelity, he was furious. Word reached upper management, and on his boss's advice, Zach was transferred to a branch office in the countryside. His mistress was moved to a different department, where she had to sort documents all day. However, my sister-in-law's revenge was even more ruthless. Still recovering from her injuries, she deeply resented Zach for what he had done that day. To vent her anger, she took extreme measures. By coincidence, she worked for one of Zach's company's clients and knew some of his colleagues. Using her connections, she revealed the cruelty she and her child had suffered that day. The employees who thought the divorce was just about the affair were shocked to learn the truth. Zach's abandonment of his own sister to cover up his affair stunned everyone in the company. The rumor spread quickly, and soon, Zach was seen as a terrible human being by everyone at work. Once Zach was ostracized by everyone, his work suffered, and he was eventually demoted. He couldn't handle the cold treatment from his colleagues and found it hard to keep working in his new position, so he ended up quitting. To pay me the high alimony, he drained his savings and now works part-time jobs. Almost all his salary goes toward these payments, and I've heard he can't even afford a coat for winter, so he shivers in thin t-shirts. I no longer have to worry about missing the last train, and I can focus on coming up with new menu ideas. Though I went through unexpected events, I realize now that I probably wouldn't have been happy if I had stayed married. There are things one must never do as a human being, and I intend to always remember that and live a life I can be proud of. That's what I truly believe. As for the mistress, she stubbornly held on to her job despite the judgmental glances from her coworkers. After consulting my lawyer, I decided to ask her parents to pay the damages. When her parents found out, they were shocked and quickly made her pay the full amount after confirming the facts. I kept receiving calls from her, which I never answered, but she left numerous abusive messages in my voicemail, saying, "Why did you tell my parents? I'm in debt now. My life is ruined because of you." I found it unbearable, so I sent her messages to her parents. Later, I received an apology letter from them, promising they would never let their daughter bother me again, and the harassing phone calls stopped. As for my sister-in-law, the actions of her abusive boyfriend became a police matter, allowing her to file for damages due to her injuries. It was tough, but she finally managed to break up with him. My in-laws and sister-in-law apologized to me for initially suspecting me and for Zach's infidelity. Although both experiences were painful for me, I understood their outrage and loss of control when they saw their daughter taken away in an ambulance after such severe abuse. After all, Zach's affair wasn't their fault, and I didn't hold a grudge against them. On the contrary, I wanted them to help my sister-in-law and her child heal from their terrible experience. If I were in their shoes, I'm sure my parents would have reacted the same way. Moreover, my in-laws and sister-in-law are fundamentally decent people. Now that I've divorced Zach, I'll probably never see them again, as they are now strangers to me, but I sincerely wish them well and hope they take care of themselves. I moved closer to the cafe I run since it's within walking distance. I no longer have to worry about missing the last train, and I can focus on coming up with new menu ideas. Though I went through unexpected events, I realize now that I probably wouldn't have been happy if I had stayed married. There are things one must never do as a human being, and I intend to always remember that and live a life I can be proud of. That's what I truly believe.
Hi everyone, I'm Grace. I work as a teacher and live in the United States with my cat. Today is special because it's my husband's birthday, and I'm baking a cake for him. I really miss him, but thinking about our wonderful memories makes me feel better. After baking his favorite cake, I sat on the couch with our wedding album and remembered a conversation we had. "Grace, can you believe we are finally married?" Ethan asked. "I know, it seems like just yesterday when you talked to me on Rose Day," I replied. "Don't make me feel shy now, we were so young back then," he said. That memory took me back 12 years to our school days. "Hey Grace, you know today is a pretty special day, right?" Ethan said. "Let me guess, International Pancake Day." I joked. "No, it's Rose Day, the day we showered each other with roses and all that mushy stuff," he explained. "So, on here is a rose for you." "Wow, Ethan, you really shouldn't have. but I'll take it, I said. Wait, there's more. We've been friends for ages and maybe it's time we upgraded our status to, super duper buddies. Super duper buddies? Is that an official category? I laughed. Well, it should be. But okay, fine, I'll say it straight. Grace, will you be my girlfriend? Ethan asked. I burst into laughter. We had been best friends since childhood, and to be honest, I had a crush on him. Of course, I said yes. Ethan, you were one of a kind. Do you know that? Sure, why not? I'm up for the challenge of being a super duper buddy, he replied. Yes, success. Your charm knows no bounds, I teased. And so, our story began on a day of roses and bold confessions. Little did we know that our super duper buddy status would lead to countless adventures and endless laughter. On our wedding day, I teased Ethan, and he blushed. You were my world, Grace, and now that we are officially a family, nothing can tear us apart, he said. Nothing, I agreed. Not even death. Don't say that, I'm not going anywhere, he assured me, hugging me tightly. Little did we know, life was about to take a harsh turn. We came back from our beautiful honeymoon and started living our normal life. My in-laws, Veronica and Andrew, lived close to us, and we used to meet on weekends. Andrew was quite supportive of Veronica and I weren't that close. Still, she didn't treat me badly, so it was going okay. One Sunday, after having dinner at their house, we started driving back home. Ethan looked tired. Are you okay? You look different, I asked. I am so tired, he replied. What happened? Let me drive, I offered. No, we are almost home, he insisted. Are you sure? I asked. Yes, he said. Suddenly, our car hit the divider, and everything turned upside down. Before I could even understand what was happening, an ambulance came and took us to the hospital. The next day, I woke up in the hospital with my in-laws by my side. What happened yesterday? I asked. Where is Ethan? Are you okay, dear? I asked. Ethan is in another ward. What exactly happened yesterday? He was tired, so I offered to drive, but we were so close to home. Then suddenly, we had an accident. Why did you let him drive? You're the cause of this accident. Because of you, my son is. Veronica began. My son is what? What happened to Ethan? I want to see him, please. Andrew took me to Ethan's room. What I saw inside was shocking. He was lying in bed, unable to move or speak. I went to him and hugged him tightly. Ethan, what happened to you? Ethan tried to speak but couldn't move his lips. Andrew told me he was paralyzed. The accident had been terrible for him. I couldn't accept this fact, that he couldn't move, walk, or talk to me anymore. How is this even possible? The doctor advised keeping him at the hospital for further tests. I went home, unable to process what had happened. Life had been so cruel to Ethan. He had worked hard and achieved so much at a young age, and this accident was a harsh blow. After the accident, my mother-in-law started ignoring my calls and messages just when I needed their support the most. I called Andrew. Hello, Andrew. Hi, dear. How are you holding up? I'm okay. Can we meet? I really need to talk. I understand. It has been tough for you. Veronica and I will come tomorrow. I overheard Veronica saying in the background, I do not want to meet that girl. It's okay if you are busy. You don't have to come. No, we are coming. Okay, thanks. Veronica was being harsh to me because she believed the accident was my fault. I was already burdened with guilt. Maybe if I had stopped Ethan from driving, the accident might have been avoided. The next day, Veronica and Andrew came to see me. Hi, dear. Hello. You look sad. It has been 2 months. I think you should get back to your routine. I cannot bear to see Ethan like this. The doctor says there has been no improvement. I cannot live with this reality. I know it is hard for us too. He is our son. I'm sure he would also be sad to see you like this. So take my advice and go back to work. Veronica sat there silently, not saying a word. I tried to talk to her. What do you think, Veronica? No need to ask me. You've already caused enough trouble for my son. Do you even care about my son? What are you saying? I think you wanted to kill my son and take all his property for yourself. What? I was frozen, looking at her in shock, unable to understand how she could even say such a thing. Tears rolled down my cheeks. That is enough, Veronica. Let us go home. Oh, I'm sorry, Grace. Take care. Just remember, I will not let you live a good life. Andrew held her hand and led her outside. I cried a lot that day. I did not know how to explain to her how much I loved Ethan. I decided to be strong and take Andrew's advice. I went back to work and started facing life again. I visited Ethan every day. He communicated with me through his eyes, and that was enough to get me through the day. One day, when I went to see Ethan, something felt different. His eyes were dry. I shouted and called the doctors. They rushed in and examined him. Ethan was pronounced dead. My heart stopped for a moment. Ethan had left us forever. I could not leave my home for the next few days. I did not want to see anyone. The love of my life was gone, and I was unable to face the world without him. Andrew tried calling me several times, but I did not answer. I just lay in bed all day crying. One day, the doorbell rang. I was too weak to get up and open the door. By the time I reached it, the bell had stopped ringing, and I found a letter outside. It was a legal notice to vacate the house. I could not understand it at first. After reading the letter carefully, I realized it was from Andrew's lawyer. Why was he doing this to me? According to the notice, the house belonged to Andrew, and he wanted me out. I couldn't believe he could do this to me. I was sad and angry, so I decided to confront him. "Hello, Andrew. How are you, my child? Why did you not pick up my calls for so long? Why are you acting this way? You sent me a legal notice, and now you're pretending to care about me." "What notice? I have no idea what you're talking about." "Stop playing games, Andrew. I know Veronica blamed me for the accident. I thought you were supportive, but what you did is unbelievable." "Wait, please explain what happened. Did you not transfer all of Ethan's assets to your name, and now you want to make me homeless too?" "I have no idea what you're talking about. You were like a daughter to me. Let me come and see you, and we can figure this out." "I do not want to see you. I am moving out. I did not marry Ethan for his money. I do not care who gets his property, but this house holds his memories, and sadly, I cannot live here anymore." I hung up the phone and moved to a rented house. Andrew tried to contact me, but I was not interested in them anymore. I had Ethan's beautiful memories with me. I returned to work. One day, while walking down the street, I saw a hungry and injured cat. Ethan loved cats. I brought her home, and since that day, she became my pet, a constant reminder of the love we once shared. One day, while walking down the street, lost in my thoughts, I saw Andrew approaching. It was the first time I had seen him since I moved out. A mix of emotions welled up inside me. "Grace, is that you?" "Yes, it is me." There was an awkward silence as we stood there facing each other on the sidewalk. "How have you been, Grace?" "I've been coping, Andrew. It's not easy. I can only imagine how difficult it must be for you." I could not help but notice the sadness in Andrew's eyes. It seemed genuine, and for a moment, I wondered if there was a misunderstanding regarding the legal notice. "Andrew, about that legal notice, Grace, I truly do not know about it. I never authorized any such notice." My confusion deepened. If Andrew did not send the notice, then who did? "I do not understand. If it was not you, then who sent that notice?" "I wish I knew. I've not been involved in any legal proceedings after my retirement. I want you to know, Grace, that I have always considered you a part of our family." "Then why did Veronica say those things to me, accusing me of wanting Ethan's wealth?" Andrew sighed, looking pained. "Veronica has been struggling to cope with Ethan's condition and the loss of her son. She may have said things in anger and grief." I could not hold back my tears. The weight of the past few months had been unbearable, and now, facing Andrew, I felt a mix of relief and sorrow. "I loved Ethan with all my heart, Andrew. I still do." "I know you did, Grace, and I believe you. I will look into this legal notice matter and try to get it sorted out." "Thank you, Andrew. That means a lot to me." As we parted ways, I could not help but wonder about the truth behind the legal notice. It seemed there were more mysteries to unravel in this painful chapter of my life. Andrew's statement seemed like it held some truth. He had been focusing on his farming business ever since his retirement, and Veronica had taken charge of handling all the financial matters. Could it possibly be her? The suspicions started to emerge in my mind, but I was cautious. After all, Veronica was Ethan's mother, and I did not want to accuse her unfairly. So I made up my mind to dig deeper into the matter to ensure I had all the facts. As time went by, I became more and more worried about the legal notice. It felt like a puzzle with missing pieces, and it bothered me a lot. I knew I had to investigate further to find out what really happened, so I asked a police friend who was good at solving mysteries and was ready to help me. Together, we looked into where the legal notice came from. We tried to reach the lawyer as well, but he was out of the country. We carefully followed all the clues, both on paper and online, hoping to find something that would tell us who sent it. It took a lot of time, but I was determined to discover the truth. Finally, after weeks of searching, my friend managed to get a recording of a conversation between Veronica and the lawyer. We also found a digital trail that pointed to Veronica. The proof was clear. Veronica had sent the legal notice, and it seemed that Andrew did not know about it. She had played well by transferring all the assets to Andrew's name so that no one would doubt her. I was sad and surprised by how much she disliked me. I went to Veronica's house when Andrew was not there because I wanted to talk to her alone first to see if she would tell the truth. I rang her doorbell. "Why are you here? I did not want to see you. It would be better if you leave." I did not pay attention to her and walked in, sitting on the couch. "This is also my father-in-law's house. You cannot just kick me out. You caused our son's death, and we do not consider you part of our family anymore. Please be polite, Veronica. You will not have much to say in a few minutes." "What do you mean?" I could see the apprehension in Veronica's eyes, a sense that she knew her secret was on the verge of being exposed. "I've been trying to understand why that legal notice was sent. I needed to know the truth." "What notice?" "The one because of which I had to leave our house." "I don't know what you're saying. I don't understand these legal things." "Oh, really? Do you know Mr. Johnson, the lawyer?" "No, I don't." "Try harder to remember." "I told you, Grace, I had nothing to do with it." "Your denials won't work anymore, Veronica. I have concrete evidence that you sent the notice." "What do you have?" I played the audio recording of a conversation between the lawyer and Veronica. Veronica's face paled as she realized the gravity of the situation. She shifted uncomfortably in her chair. "How did you?" "I had help, Veronica. The truth was bound to come out eventually." "Grace, you were smarter than I expected. So now that you know it was me and that I don't want you to have Ethan's assets, why are you here? Just leave my house." "I'm glad you accepted the truth, Veronica. The truth is, I loved Ethan with all my heart, and his assets are not just property to me. His memories lie in all those things. We can share his assets. I do not want to share anything belonging to my son with his killer." Before I could respond, I heard Andrew's voice. "Shut up, Veronica. You have said enough." Veronica and I looked back in shock. Andrew was already home and had heard everything. I didn't want Andrew to know about the matter so soon. I wanted to settle it with Veronica first. Unfortunately, he heard everything and he looked hurt. "Andrew, you went to the farmer's market. How did you come back so soon?" "I forgot my wallet, but I'm glad I came home. Otherwise, I would have never understood what you have done." "It's not like that. I can explain." "Oh, so you have an explanation. Please explain what you have done. I never thought my wife would keep me in the dark." "Actually, I got insecure about Ethan's property and wanted it to be safe with us. Grace is his wife. You know, after Ethan, the property belongs to her." "No, I never wanted her to be his wife, but Ethan was crazy for her. I didn't want him to dislike me because I was refusing his marriage." "Why do you have so many issues with Grace? She is the purest soul." "I knew she was not good for Ethan, and look, because of her, Ethan left us." "Stop it, Veronica. You said I am responsible for my husband's death, and since that day, I have been dying inside every day. But let me make it clear, I was not the reason for the accident. It was just bad timing." "Whatever. I never wanted you to be in his life. And now that Ethan is not here, I do not want you to enjoy his property." "Why did you transfer everything into my name?" "Because I did not want to seem bad in your eyes. If I transferred the assets to my name, you would have supported Grace and given her everything back. It's not about Ethan. I know you, Veronica. You were being selfish. Have you forgotten your past mistakes? I gave you a fair chance, and you were repeating the same things again." "Past mistakes." I never told this to Ethan or you, but today, the day when we were newly married, Veronica claimed my parents' property and threw them out of the house, making it seem like I was the one responsible. Today she did the same with you. That was so evil. I cannot believe this. She created misunderstandings between me and my parents. They never spoke to me again. But despite that, I gave her a chance and continued our marriage. But it looks like she will never understand. I have made my decision. I cannot continue like this. I'm going to file for divorce." "Divorce? Are you serious, Andrew? Please, let's talk about this. We can work things out. Grace and I have been through too much, and I cannot ignore your secrets and lies any longer. It's not healthy for any of us. Please don't do this to me, Andrew. Where will I go?" "Don't ask me. My decision is final." Veronica sat down in disbelief. The tension in the room was heavy. I never imagined something like this would happen. I know I messed up by transferring the assets. I did it out of fear. I was scared that if I didn't, Grace would take everything and leave us with nothing. Veronica, I never wanted any of this. I didn't even know about the assets until now. Ethan loved you, and I didn't want to come between you. Enough explanation, Veronica. Just get out of my house. I'll see you in court. Veronica started crying, but she understood that nothing was going to work out. After some time, she left home. Andrew, I didn't want to create problems between you and Veronica. I didn't want to be the cause of more tension in your marriage. This is not your fault, Grace. This is just a reflection of her actions. Andrew, I'm so sorry for everything. You don't have to say sorry. You have lost everything. You're like a daughter to me, and I have decided something for you. What is it? I'm giving you half of my assets. No, I didn't do all this to get property. I just wanted Veronica to realize her mistakes. But I want you to keep it, Grace. We're connected through Ethan's memory, and I'm sure he wants you to have a home. As I remember Ethan and me living in our beautiful house, tears came into my eyes. Thank you so much, Andrew. You were like a daughter, Grace. Feel free to call me whenever you need anything. Sure. I went home. My revenge had been served, and Veronica got a punishment for what she did. I was back home. I knew it would not be easy to live without Ethan, but I was determined to rebuild my life and find a way to honor Ethan's memory with love. Hello, everyone. My name is Scarlett. I never thought I would get to share my story, but here I am with a crazy mother-in-law tale. I've used fake names because I have a daughter and don't want to be recognized. To be honest, my story doesn't even start with a crazy mother-in-law. I was married to my high school sweetheart, Daniel, for 3 years. We married young and settled down before I was in my mid-20s. Daniel worked at his father's business, so we were already quite settled. His mother, Jenny, adored me, and along with his brother, Devin, we were one big happy family. Unfortunately, Daniel's dad had passed away when we were still in school, so he wasn't part of our family. Despite this, I had some amazing years with Daniel and his family. But tragedy struck, and I was left with a big hole in my heart. One morning, I got a devastating call from Jenny while I was at work. She said, "Scarlett, I have some terrible news. Daniel got into a car crash. He didn't even make it to the hospital. I'm so sorry, Scarlett. I don't know what to do." My whole world came crashing down. The man I thought would be my life partner passed away too soon. It was a dark time for me and Daniel's family. To make matters worse, I was 5 months pregnant with our child, Lily. Thinking about those days is still painful. Daniel may be gone, but he'll always be a big part of my life. I gave him a part of my heart, and he took it with him when he died. Suddenly, my world changed dramatically. Jenny couldn't cope well with the grief and became fixated on me and my pregnancy. She had this strange idea that Lily was a reincarnation of Daniel. She would constantly call my unborn child her baby and try to make decisions about my body. Dealing with Jenny was a nightmare. She would say, "You better not think about moving on, Scarlett. I'll never let you leave with my child. Lily is always going to be with me and Devin. I have already set up a nursery in my house. She will come live with me when she is born. Devin will be her dad. He is Daniel's brother, after all." Jenny, I know you're having a hard time dealing with Daniel's death. Trust me, I'm just as bad. But you can't control me like this. This is my child, not yours. How dare you say this to me? Lily is my child. I will do everything in my power to keep her with me. Don't you dare think you can take her away. As the days passed, Jenny became extremely unstable. We tried having multiple family discussions about her behavior. We told her, "You need to stop being so obsessed with Lily. This is very unhealthy, Jenny." "Mom, we are worried about you. You're acting very strangely. I think you should consider therapy." "The only one you should worry about is Scarlett. I know this girl. She'll run away with a new man once the child is born. She'll take away Lily and raise her with someone else." "Devin, you can't let her do this. She is your daughter too." "Mom, you're not making any sense. Daniel is the father of Lily. A new man will not replace him. I'm her uncle, and that's it. I will be there for her, and so will you. But ultimately, she is Scarlett's daughter." Jenny never listened to us. From hosting a baby shower for herself to demanding to be present in the delivery room, Jenny did a lot of things that still give me panic attacks. Devin did his best to control his mother. However, Jenny never improved. The first major trouble she caused was right after I gave birth. She came to my room and asked to hold the baby. When I handed her my daughter, she ran for the door. Luckily, Devin was outside and stopped her with some nurses. From that moment, I knew Jenny couldn't be around my daughter, so I filed a case against her and let the cops handle it. At first, I was hesitant to get a restraining order because I wanted Lily to know her grandma, so I set some boundaries and hoped for the best. But Jenny crossed every line. She tried to take my daughter away several times and even tried to convince Devin and his girlfriend to adopt Lily. They refused because they are sensible people. Jenny also didn't like the fact that I was seeing someone when Lily was 2. The last straw came when she tried to take Lily from daycare without my permission. We found out she had planned to move to a different state. I immediately confronted her in front of Devin. "What is wrong with you, Jenny? How many times do I have to tell you that you can't see my child without my permission? Even the courts are with me on this, yet you keep trying to take her away. Lily is my child and she deserves to be with me. I'll keep her until Devin and his girlfriend get married, then we will be a happy family. You can go have a new child with your boyfriend." "Mom, you can't say or do things like this. We have already told you that Lily belongs to Scarlett. If she marries again, Lily will have a father figure. You don't have to worry about her."
No, no, no. This is Daniel's daughter. I won't let anyone else raise her. She is mine and mine only. Scarlett is nothing but a wum. I will take my Lily away from this witch. By that point, I was completely done with Jenny. She never improved and only got worse with time. I was genuinely worried for Lily's safety, so I decided to file a restraining order against Jenny. I knew the restraining order would make her furious, so before she could cause any more damage, I moved to a different country. I took a transfer and left without telling anyone the address. Only Devin knew because he was dependable. Jenny's behavior left a lasting impression on me, and I was always paranoid that she would take my child. The first year after I moved was hell, but I got therapy and decided to get better for my daughter. I also developed a good connection with Carlos, a local resident. He was the reason I moved to the country. Carlos loved my daughter a lot and they quickly formed a great bond, so I was sure the relationship would work out. Jenny found out about Carlos and tried to call me. "You cheating witch. I'm sure you've been cheating. I will never let you live in peace. I'll bring Lily back to me. Just wait." "Jenny, I have a restraining order against you. I don't want to do this, but you have left me no choice. If you really love Lily, you should get therapy and get better for her." "Don't tell me what to do, Scarlett. I don't need therapy. I only want my baby Lily back. One day, I will take her away from you, and then all you will do is cry." That one phone call was enough to send me into a spiral again. Carlos and my therapist had a tough time soothing my fears. My paranoia skyrocketed, and my world got dark. Somehow, I managed to deal with the situation and kept all these conversations as evidence. Thankfully, with her horrible behavior, I was able to get the restraining order renewed every time it expired. My only solace was that Jenny never knew my new address. For the next few years, things went pretty well for me. I was slowly starting to cope with my mental health problems while dealing with Jenny. I can't begin to tell you how many phone numbers I had to change. When Lily was 6, I married Carlos and began my life with him. Devin and his girlfriend, now fiancée, were invited. However, Jenny was strictly not allowed at the wedding. After Devin went home, he called me about Jenny. He said, "Scarlett, Mom found out about your wedding. I think one of your friends posted a picture and she saw it. She's not happy about this." What do I do, Devin? I'm tired of running from Jenny. Even after years of filing restraining orders, she keeps harassing me. I'm exhausted. Stay strong, Scarlett. I'm doing my best to handle her. I think your marriage and my engagement have given her fresh ideas. I'm afraid she will do something stupid. Don't worry, Devin. I'll be on the lookout. I'm not that naive girl anymore. Jenny can plan as much as she wants, but I won't let her take Lily. I was determined to protect my child. I quickly ordered high-security cameras and installed them all around the house. I also briefed Lily's school and babysitter about Jenny so that she couldn't make up weird stories. Carlos was with me through it all. Years of therapy helped me deal with the situation better. While the old me would panic and become paranoid, the new me stayed calm and made plans. I prayed Jenny wouldn't pull any stunts, but I was ready to act if she did. Jenny's last crazy episode happened very soon after. One morning, while I was at the office pulling an overtime shift, I was surprised by a call from Devin.
I had no idea why he would call me at work, and my stomach was in knots as I picked up the phone. Devin sounded panicked and said, "Scarlett, you have to listen to me. This is serious. Mom just left me a message that she's bringing back Lily. I know you will never allow that, and I'm afraid she will do something stupid." "What the hell, Devin? I never gave her permission to take Lily. We have a restraining order against her. I think Mom is planning to kidnap Lily and bring her to my house. I've tried to change her mind, but I'm afraid she will run away with her if I push her too much. You need to stop her before she takes Lily." "Thank you for telling me, Devin. I have no idea why Jenny still hasn't gotten the hint. Her behavior keeps escalating. She's adamant that Lily should stay with her. Mom is still obsessed with having Lily replace Daniel as her dad, but she's being very unreasonable. I know she needs help, but she refuses to go to therapy. I'm sorry to say this, Devin, but this time I don't think I can forgive her. If she really tries to kidnap my daughter, I will be sending her to jail." Devin understood my stance and promised to be in touch in case something went wrong. Meanwhile, I started to plan a trap for Jenny.
I knew that even if I left work right then, I wouldn't be able to reach home on time. So, I picked up my phone and made a call. Then I simply sat back and waited for Jenny to show up. I had a small hope that Jenny wouldn't be this crazy, but it turns out she truly was. My house has security cameras covering the entire place, so I was able to watch everything while driving back home with a friend. As I watched Lily play on the lawn, I spotted Jenny making an entrance. Jenny actually tried to take my daughter. I was enraged by her behavior. Even after everything, she wanted to ignore the court and take my child. She did it in the afternoon, knowing I wouldn't be home. However, she didn't know one thing about my life. Carlos and I had gotten married 6 months ago, and Lily's new stepfather was watching everything from inside the house. As soon as Jenny snatched up Lily, she cried out for Carlos, who immediately came and blocked the front door. Through the security camera, I saw Jenny go completely white as a ghost. My daughter fought off her arms and ran straight to Carlos. There was one thing Jenny didn't know about the new man in my life. Carlos was a police officer. To be precise, he was the sheriff of our county. Jenny took one look at him and her jaw dropped, especially because he was still in his police uniform. He had just come back from work and was spending time with my daughter before I came home. The call I made from the office was to Carlos. He picked up my daughter from school and stayed home until I got back. Jenny stupidly thought I would leave my daughter unsupervised. Instead, she found a living and breathing cop stationed at my house. I heard Carlos say, "What are you doing here, Jenny? I know you were Scarlett's mother-in-law. I'm interested to know what brings you here." "I'm here for my grandbaby. It's time she spent time with me." "Who the hell are you? And where is my grandbaby?" "First of all, you are not supposed to be in this house. I also know that you don't have any visitation rights with Scarlett's daughter. I suggest you tell me your intentions since there are cameras in the house." "Who the hell are you? Why are you in this house around my granddaughter? You're not supposed to be here. I won't allow an unknown man to be near my granddaughter." "I am not an unknown man. I'm her stepfather, and I have every right to be here. You are not supposed to be here since you have trespassed into my house, tried to kidnap Lily, and violated restraining orders. I have already called my mates to come and arrest you." No, you cannot arrest me. I'm not doing anything wrong. My granddaughter belongs to me and Devin. I won't let Scarlett let a stranger raise Daniel's daughter. Only Devin is fit to be her dad. Listen to me, Jenny. You need to step away from this house right now. The cops will come and arrest you if I don't do it myself. Jenny kept arguing with Carlos while I hurried home to them. My friend from work drove me to my house, and as I watched the confrontation, Carlos warned Jenny that she would face serious consequences if she didn't leave. But Jenny decided to continue arguing. As soon as I reached the house, Jenny started shouting at me. She said, "You witch, you intentionally married a cop so that you can take away my granddaughter. This is all you're planning. I always knew you were a total witch." "Calm down, Jenny. You keep forgetting that my cop husband is right in this house. Believe it or not, he will arrest you if you keep harassing us." "I won't go down so easily. I'll tell everyone that you were cheating with Carlos before Daniel died. I will ruin your reputation and take Lily." "Carlos, you can add harassment and slander to Jenny's list of offenses now. Looks like she won't stop." Just then, the rest of the cops arrived. They came inside the house and spoke to Carlos about the situation. When Carlos and I gave our statements, Jenny threw another fit. She started screaming and crying about how unfair and selfish we were being. You are a vile woman, Scarlett. You want to keep me away from Lily. You have no respect for Daniel's memories. Why can't you just give Devin my granddaughter? He's the only one who should be her dad. She is my granddaughter. I have the right to decide who raises her. The courts are wrong. I deserve to be with Lily. She deserves to be in my family. I won't let her stay with you. Jenny took that opportunity to attack me again. Yes, this crazy lady tried to assault me in front of my cop husband and friends. She was immediately restrained, and Carlos looked extremely pissed off. He spoke with his colleagues, and in a few seconds, Jenny was taken away in cuffs. She did try to fight those officers, which added another offense to her already big criminal record. After everything happened, I took some time off work to be with my daughter. She was still traumatized by everything, especially by the way Jenny tried to grab her and run. Even I am exhausted from dealing with Jenny and had a hard time balancing everything. Carlos has been a huge support to both me and Lily. Lily has even started to call him Dad. She does know about Daniel, but she also sees Carlos as a father. I'm so happy that my little girl is finally starting to have a normal life. Devin and I talked in detail about what went down. He apologized for his mother's behavior multiple times. I assured him that none of this is his fault, and he shouldn't take Jenny's blame. He continues to visit us every week to spend time with Lily and my family. He has since uninvited Jenny from his wedding and is planning to go no contact with her. Speaking of Jenny, she will be spending time in jail by now. She has managed to work towards an impressive list of charges that keeps getting worse. From what Carlos has told me, she will likely face fines along with a short prison sentence. She's tried her best to turn the judge against us, but even the lawyer knows she's a lost cause. We're still waiting for the final hearing, so I can't share all the details of the court proceedings. However, it looks like me, Carlos, and Lily will finally have some peace away from my crazy ex-mother-in-law. Hi, I'm Angela, a 30-year-old. When I first met my mother-in-law, Mary, she said, "You will never be as important as me to Cole. He will always choose me over you. Don't expect anything else from him." I was extremely embarrassed and hurt by her behavior. She kept insulting me, calling me worthless, and said, "I don't know how my son could choose a girl like you. No one deserves my baby. He's just mine. Cole is the best kid ever and loves his mom. You're just a temporary person in his life." I replied, "I know he is your favorite son, Mary. I also know he loves you a lot because you are his mother. I can't replace you. I'm just trying to be a good partner to him. You don't have to see me as competition. I want us to have a relationship." Mary responded, "You can never be my competition. Besides, you are only here for a while, so don't get carried away. He will dump you sooner or later." Mary's rudeness really shocked me. My boyfriend, Cole, is nothing like her. He is super kind and caring. It was painful to experience this because I would never ask Cole to choose me over his mom. I lost my parents when I was young, so I understand how important parents are. Cole has always been loving towards me, and he holds his mother in high regard. His father, Billy, divorced Mary when they were kids, and Cole has some resentment towards him. He prefers his mom over everyone else, believing she sacrificed a lot to raise him. Cole once told me, "All my ex-girlfriends hated my mom. I have no idea why. She's a little dependent on me because she never married again. She spends a lot of time taking care of us and expects a lot of emotional support from her kids." I said, "She sounds like a great person, especially since you speak so highly of her. She also raised such a fine man like you. I already hold her in high regard." Cole replied, "See, at least you consider that. I don't know why no one else could tolerate her. We have to be compassionate. I can't just leave her like Dad did." I agreed, "Cole, I'm sure they had their reasons, but you're right. You can't just drop your mom for anyone." In the future, I would end up being one of those girls who disliked his mother, making things difficult for him. His siblings, Dean and Tamara, tried to warn me when I met them. They were very warm and understanding, unlike Mary. I was confused about how Cole and his siblings turned out so nice with Mary as their mom. Dean and Tamara explained, "Angela, we know you've met our mother. You don't have to pretend to like her. We don't worship her like Cole does. He can be a little too naive when it comes to mom." They clarified, "Yeah, I mean mom did raise us, but she wasn't exactly a great parent, although Cole might think otherwise. I think Mary didn't like me very much. I tried my best to reassure her, but she seemed firm in her judgment of me." "I'm sorry you had to go through that," Dean said. "I just hope she didn't say anything overly hurtful."
Look, I don't know if Cole told you, but she's always been this way towards his girlfriends. Tamara added. I actually have a lot of stories to tell. Yeah, she had a habit of chasing them away. Mom just can't take it when Cole and me give attention to someone other than her. She thinks that just because she chose not to date, she's entitled to all our time and attention. Angela, we really like you, so take this as a warning. Cole can be very dense when it comes to Mom. He takes her side most of the time, and we know it has cost him many relationships. Don't let Mom win this time. You were perfect for Cole. I don't know, guys. It feels very weird to compete with his mother. I don't have my parents anymore, so I feel bad for Mary. I don't want to take Cole away from her. Believe me, Angela, he really needs to be away from her. Otherwise, he will never be happy, Dean said. Dean and Tamara gave me some good insight into what my relationship with Cole might become. It was true that Cole spent a lot of time with his mother. He often canceled dates to be with her. Mary also called him over for every minor inconvenience. She never worked and was still getting alimony from Billy. I met Billy a long time after I met Mary and the siblings. Billy seemed to be more like Cole and the siblings, and it was easy to see why he had to divorce Mary. I never had a problem with Cole canceling dates for Mary if there was a genuine emergency. However, his constant catering to her wore me down. Dean and Tamara's words kept ringing in my head, and I knew it was time to sit down and have a conversation with Cole. I said to him, Cole, I like that you take care of your mother so much, but you're starting to neglect me. This month, you have canceled all our dates just to be with her. It's getting annoying. You know Mom relies on me a lot. Dean and Tamara don't bother to visit anymore, so I'm the only one who has to help. Cole replied, I can understand if she needs your help or if there's an emergency, but you canceled our dates for no reason. You don't have to run to her when she is slightly bored. Well, she is my mom and doesn't have anyone else. Do you expect me to drop her when I'm with you? I'm not saying that, Cole. I just want you to start thinking about which visits are important and which are not. No matter how much I tried to make him understand, Cole never agreed with my reasoning. However, he did promise to make it up to me. I was pretty miffed but didn't complain because he was trying his best. Slowly, I was starting to realize why none of his exes liked Mary. She was unbearable. Every time I was with Cole, she would try to get his attention. When she realized I was more permanent than she thought, she started to become more demanding. It all came to a head when Cole proposed to me. I obviously said yes because I loved him. He was the man of my dreams and exactly everything I wanted. Both Cole and I were over the moon. We decided to invite his family for dinner to announce our engagement. Cole happily called his family and asked them to come over. Billy was the first one who came. He was super excited for us and gave us his heartiest congratulations. Dean and Tamara also came early and were extremely excited for the wedding. But when Mary walked in and saw the ring on my finger, she just flipped out. Cole, am I seeing things? Did you propose to her? Yes, Mom. I popped the question yesterday. She said yes. I asked everyone to dinner to announce the engagement. You have to be kidding me. What is wrong with you, Cole? You were too young to settle down with whoever you find on the street. You didn't even consult me before asking her. Mom, what are you saying? You always knew I was going to propose to her. But I never gave you permission. How dare you propose without asking me? Why did you spend so much money on the ring? This stupid girl doesn't deserve anything so expensive. Angela, are you happy now that you have taken away my boy? Mary, what are you saying? You should be happy for us. We love each other and you are my family as well now. Mary, calm down. It's natural Cole would settle down with Angela. She is a great girlfriend, and we all knew the engagement was coming. Stop making a scene. This is ridiculous. Cole doesn't need your permission to marry. He's old enough to make his own decisions. Mary just wouldn't listen to anyone. She kept screaming at us and calling us names. Some of the things she said about me were downright nasty, things I can't even repeat here. Cole was pretty stunned throughout the whole debacle and didn't say much. It was just Mary screaming while the rest of us tried to calm her down. After a while of screaming and crying at us, Mary left. The rest of us decided to sit for dinner so that the food wouldn't go to waste. Before everyone left, Tamara pulled me aside and said, Angela, I think it's time you set some boundaries with Mom. She called you horrible things in front of us. Tamara, I think I've had enough. I tried so hard to make her like me, but I won't do that anymore. She has disrespected me a lot today, and I won't put up with this anymore. I hope Cole understands. Hold your ground. If he loves you and wants you, he'll listen. After everyone left, Cole and I cleaned up and then I signaled him to the living room. It was time to put some boundaries between us and Mary. I sat him down and said, Mary was horrible to us today. I think we can agree on that. She overreacted a little. I guess I shouldn't have sprung this on her. If only I had discussed this with her. Cole, you are a grown man and don't have to discuss these things with your mom. Why are you still defending her? Didn't you hear what she said about me? Are you okay with that? Of course not, Angela. I'm not okay with that. But it's just that she has never behaved this way before. Trust me, Cole, she has done this before. Every time you were away, Mary used to berate me and call me names. She is obsessed with you. Can't you see that? What are you saying, Angela? My mom has been talking about you all this while. Why didn't you tell me before? Because you have a habit of defending her every time. Look, I know she is your mom and you want her in your life, but I'm going to have low contact with her. You need to rethink your actions and stop catering to her demands all the time. We discussed the problems with Mary, and Cole agreed to set up boundaries. I was happy that he was finally starting to see through Mary's toxic ways. However, he still held her dear and refused to criticize her for anything. Thankfully, he went over to talk to Mary and told her to stay away from me. Wedding planning was equally exhausting with Mary creating trouble. She even went as far as to change the decorations and try to cancel the venue.
My maid of honor had the foresight to install passwords so that only Cole and I could make changes. When we were informed about Mary's meddling, I was furious. However, Cole tried to play it down and promised to handle Mary on his own. Things were pretty tense between us as well. Mary absolutely lost it when she found out we bought a house together. Cole and I found our dream house, and Billy offered to help with the down payment. We bought it immediately and put both our names on it. Mary didn't like this at all. She even called Cole and berated him for ignoring her wishes and getting a house with me. Mary wanted Cole to live with her once her lease was up and didn't want him to spend money on a house with me. The wedding itself was uneventful since Mary was given a stern talking to by Cole. My bridesmaids and maid of honor also kept an eye on her so that she couldn't mess things up. However, things went south when we went on our honeymoon. One night, we got a call from Mary. She said, Cole, I have been in an accident. I'm at the hospital. The doctors are saying that I have become paralyzed. I need you right now. What? Where are you, Mom? Tell me the name of the hospital. We will come back immediately. You should have called me sooner. I didn't want to spoil your honeymoon. I knew Angela would not let you come back. Don't worry, I will get discharged tomorrow, but how will I manage on my own? I can't even move. There's no one to take care of me. Don't worry, Mom. You can stay with us. I'll take care of you. I'm sure Angela is okay with this. I'll come to get you when I return. Take care of yourself. Cole quickly called his siblings and Billy as well. However, they were pretty confused by the whole deal. They didn't even know Mary had an accident. Apparently, when they called her up, she forbade them from visiting her in the hospital. Cole was upset and said that Mary was mad at everyone for abandoning her. He also felt bad for neglecting her the previous year, so he decided to end our honeymoon there. There was nothing I could do. When we went back, Mary was already at her house. She was in a wheelchair and started to cry when she saw Cole and me. Cole assured her that he would never abandon her again. This time, he never even asked me anything. Mary also kept giving me weird looks and making snide comments about how I couldn't keep Cole away from her. I stayed quiet because there was no point in attacking her when she was hurt. One thing was definitely bothering me. Mary never showed us any medical documents or doctor's notes. She even refused to say which hospital she had been to. Cole ignored those red flags and simply told me to leave her alone. When we took her to our house, Mary said, Son, you seriously can't think about putting me in a guest room. It would be so uncomfortable. It would be better if I get the master bedroom. Your room is so much bigger and has all my needs. I'm so sick right now. I need comfort. Of course, Mom. If you think the master bedroom will be better, you can stay there. We won't mind. I just want you to be comfortable right now. Thank you so much, Cole. I hope Angela is not mad at me. You guys didn't even get to enjoy your new room first. I can stay in the guest room if she wants. Who cares if I'm uncomfortable? You can stay in the master bedroom, Mary. I never objected to it. Mary just looked at me and smirked. She was clearly enjoying the fact that Cole was paying attention to her. Cole never discussed anything with me before giving in to his mother's demands. He kept blaming himself for not being there for her. Dean and Tamara were also very weirded out by the situation. Everything seemed too suspicious for us.
I left it alone because I didn't want Cole to get the wrong idea. Things went pretty much downhill after that. Mary monopolized Cole's time. After coming home from work, she called him to her room and kept him there till dinner. Even at dinner, Mary insisted Cole eat with her. I was left to eat alone in the kitchen. It was like Cole never had time for me. Mary also ordered me around when I was home. If I told her no, she would call Cole and cry to him. Cole and I often argued because he wanted me to do more, but I was starting to hit rock bottom with him. My suspicions about Mary's health never went away, so I decided to keep an eye on her. One thing that Mary never knew was that we had cameras in the master bedroom. It was in place so we could keep track of things if they went missing. Neither I nor Cole told her about it. One day, when I was in the office, I decided to look at the recorded videos. Lo and behold, it was Mary walking perfectly fine and looking through all the drawers and cabinets in our room. I was shocked. Sure, I had my suspicions, but I didn't know Mary would do something like this. After finding the truth, I decided to wait before confronting her. Cole and I were still arguing, and I didn't want to piss him off anymore, so I bided my time and waited for the right moment. The perfect time was just about to come. About 4 months after Mary moved in, she told us that we needed to talk. We went to her room and waited for her to begin. She said, "You guys know that I've been going to the doctor with my friend. Today the doctor said that he can fix me, however, it would take a lot of money to do it." "That's great news, Mom. I'm sure this treatment will help you get better." "Yes, but you know I don't have that much money, so I was wondering if you can help me out." "We will be happy to help, Mary, but we don't have that much money lying around." "Don't be selfish, Angela. You have this house. If you sell it now, the money will be enough for the treatment. You can just move in with me and stay there after that." "Mom, it's a big decision to make. We want you to get better, but I can't believe this. My own son doesn't want to help me." "Okay, then go ahead and kick me out. I would rather die in the street than stay here any longer." "Mom, don't say that. We'll figure something out. Just give me time." "No, just sell this damn house. You don't need such a big house anyway. Angela doesn't get to live in a big house while I rot away in a small one. Sell the house and give me the money." "Mom, calm down. We will find a way. Just let me think about it." Mary just kept accusing Cole of not loving her. She was so intense that Cole was on the verge of tears. He was almost ready to sell the house for her. That's when I decided it was enough. "Stop it, Mary. Why are you pressuring him like this? I know you're not sick at all. Your paralysis is a lie. Stop this nonsense now. We are not selling the house for you." "Oh my, Angela, what is wrong with you? Why would you say something like that?" "Because it's true. Cole, I know you think I am insane, but Mary has been lying to us. Do you remember the cameras we had in the master bedroom?" "Yes, what about them?" "I checked them a few days back. Mary's just fine. She's acting like she's paralyzed. Here's a compiled video of her moving around just fine." I gave Cole my phone to see the evidence. Mary went white as a ghost. She was trying to prevent Cole from seeing the video. She knew I had caught her in the act. After watching the videos carefully, Cole said, "What the hell is this, Mom? You were acting all this time. Why would you do that?" "It's not my fault, Cole. You have been drifting away from me. There was nothing else I could do. Angela doesn't deserve all the money and attention you give her. I should be a priority, not her." "Of course Angela is my priority. She's my freaking wife. I would always be there for you when you need me, but you were getting overwhelming for us." "How can you say that? I am your mother. You have to sell this house and move in with me. I had to act like a worthless disabled person to gain your attention. I deserve something for going through this nonsense." "You are not entitled to this house, Mary. You should be grateful we haven't kicked you out instantly." "Mom, you need to leave. I don't want to see your face right now. I need to be away from you." Mary kept crying and screaming that Cole was abandoning her again. However, this time Cole wasn't giving in to her. Next, she started to attack me verbally. The insults she threw at me were vile. She even brought up my dead parents to insult me. Cole had enough and threatened to call the police if she didn't leave. She went back to her house but kept calling repeatedly. Cole and I had some serious talks, and he apologized for being so naive about his mom. We discussed her awful behavior and decided that it was time for no contact. Even his siblings and Billy were horrified by what happened. They were also contemplating going no contact with her. Mary kept pestering us with calls for months. However, for now, she has gotten the hint and is staying away. We might consider establishing a relationship if she gets therapy and tries to be better. But for now, she is staying far away from us. Hello, lovely people. My name is Esther. Yes, it's a fake name because I don't want to be recognized. Even though I'd love for my dad and stepmother to be publicly shamed, I don't want the drama for myself. So, I'll be using fake names. My story is about how I got my revenge against my father and his new wife. My mom, Meg, was a very kind and loving woman. She was one of those people who could easily make you fall in love with her. She was not only generous and loving but also very caring. I'm not saying this just because she was my mom. The entire community loved her just as much. I thought that my father, Richard, loved her a lot too, but I was wrong. When I was around 16, my dad left my mom and married his mistress, Jennifer. My mom was actually getting cancer treatments, and my dad decided it would be a good idea to cheat on her with her best friend. Apparently, it had been going on for a year since my mom's diagnosis. One day, my dad sat me down and told me everything. He said, "I'm sure you've heard that your mom and I are splitting. You have to understand, Esther, I cannot be with someone who is sick. I needed a wife who would take care of me. Jennifer makes me feel loved." I was shocked and angry. I said, "You have some nerve to try and make me accept your mistress. I'll never forgive you for what you've done. I don't want Jennifer anywhere around me again." My dad replied, "That will be a big problem, sir. I'm going to marry her in 6 months as soon as the divorce is finalized. You need to attend our wedding and support us. People will talk if you don't show up." He showed no remorse. The only reason he wanted me to accept his affair was so that people wouldn't look down on him. I can't begin to tell you how disgusted I was. My mom tried her best not to spoil my relationship with Dad. She explained that she wouldn't be alive for long, so I needed to stick with the only parent I would have in the future. It made me super sad to hear her say those things. It was true that her cancer got worse and she didn't have much time left. I needed my dad back then. I needed his support. Seeing my mom die in pain while my dad was celebrating his new family was horrible. Still, I tried to have a relationship with Dad. The saddest part is that Dad didn't care about me at all. It's like a switch went off and he just stopped thinking about me altogether. He focused all his attention on his new family and stepkids. I was always left as an afterthought. I was even made to sleep on the couch while his new kids had their own rooms. When I complained, Dad and Jennifer jumped on me. They said, "How can you be so selfish, Esther? This is all very new to my stepkids. They need their rooms to adjust. You can sleep on the couch for a few days. This is my house and I will decide who stays where." I replied, "Dad, first of all, this house belongs to Grandpa. He promised me that I would get my room. You promised him that too. That's why he let you stay here." Dad responded, "Look how entitled you are. This house will be Richard's eventually, and then it will be your step-siblings' property. You need to stop complaining and try to be good to them." I said, "Why should I be good to them when all they have done is torment me? Dad, you know that your wife and stepkids hate me. Still, you want me to be the one to adjust. How can you do this? I'm not answerable to you, sir. In a few months, you'll be an adult and have to find your own place anyway. So what's the point of having a room? Stop being difficult and be nice to your new family." I was crushed by what Dad had said. It was clear he would kick me out once I turned 18, while his stepkids, who were well past 20, had their own rooms. The favoritism and double standards were heartbreaking for me. Things got worse when my mom died a few months before I turned 18. I was devastated, but Dad offered no support. It was Grandpa Peter who helped me with everything. He helped me arrange the funeral and started to be my guardian. He always said, "Your dad is an idiot, Esther. He has no idea how much he has wronged your mother. One day, he will realize and face the consequences of his actions." I have given up on him, Grandpa. He's busy with his new family now and plans to kick me out at 18. I don't even know what to think anymore. Don't worry, Esther. As long as I am alive, I won't let you be without a guardian. You can depend on me for anything.
So I went to Peter whenever I had a problem. My dad was busy with his new family and didn't have time for me. This new family didn't like Peter because he disapproved of their affair and marriage, so they never bothered with him. They only wanted his assets and were waiting for him to pass away. Naturally, we both felt isolated and depended on each other for support. As soon as I turned 18, my dad made it clear I wasn't his problem anymore. He and Jennifer went through all the details. "So who turned 18 today? Esther, from now on, you are on your own. As an adult, you need to manage your expenses. We won't let you live in this house for free.
You even need to pay us rent and utilities or get a different place. You're hogging the couch anyway. Wow, you two did have it all planned out. What about your own kids, Jennifer? They are adults but still live with you. Don't compare my kids to yourself. They are different and more important. Now Richard needs to build a relationship with them. She's right, Esther. I need to concentrate on my new kids now. You will always be my daughter, but I have to prove my love to them. And just to be clear, I cannot pay for your college. Don't worry, Dad. I won't ask you for anything. Actually, Mom already had a college fund for me with her inheritance money. I can easily pay for all my semesters. I have myself enrolled in one, so I'll be leaving soon. I'll stay in the dorms. You won't have to worry about me anymore. I genuinely thought they would leave me alone after that. I just wanted to get away from them. But mentioning the inheritance was a huge mistake. Suddenly, Dad and Jennifer were saying how unfair it was for me to have so much money. Dad even tried to make me give them some. I told them they didn't deserve Mom's inheritance and that I needed it to pay for college. I thought that would do the trick. It didn't. One day, when I was visiting Dad for the holidays, I overheard a horrible conversation between him and Jennifer. Richard, the guests have been asking for a new car and some gadgets again. I don't know how to tell them we can't afford it. It's so unfair that Esther gets everything while your kids don't get what they want. If you don't do something about it, they will start to hate you. Don't worry, dear. I'll talk to Esther. I'll make her drop out of college. Then she'll be forced to give up the rest of her inheritance to us. That's a wonderful idea, Richard. Esther doesn't deserve so much money anyway. She needs to share it with her siblings as we do. You should talk to her. Don't worry, I will. Very soon we'll have the rest of her inheritance in our accounts. We can get our kids whatever they want. Hearing this made my heart hurt. I loved my dad despite what he had done, but what little love was left for him was now gone. I couldn't believe he could be so cruel. He wanted to destroy my career to help his new family. It made me sick to my stomach. After a while, I was burning with anger, so I decided to call my grandpa and hatch a plan. I wanted to get back at Dad and Jennifer. They had no idea who they were messing with. About 2 months later, Dad and Jennifer called me home. They sat me down and told me we needed to talk. I knew what he was going to say, but I wanted to hear them out. He said, Esther, there is something we need to talk about. I want you to drop out of college. You've got a lot of inheritance from your mom. It's very unfair that you get to go to college and spend so much money. You need to drop out and give us the money. I replied, Excuse me, why would I do that? And what do you even need the money for? You are not my real dad. Dad persisted, Now, Esther, you have step-siblings and a new family. It was extremely rude of you not to share your inheritance. We want to remedy that. If you drop out of college, you won't need the rest of the inheritance. You can give it to us so we can help your new siblings get the things they want. You need to stop being so selfish and think about them. They could use the money for much better things. Hearing this, I began laughing very loudly in front of him. Then I pulled some of my documents out of my bag and said, I had a feeling that you would ask me something like this with the way you have been replacing me with your new family. Thankfully for me, I was prepared for this day. They asked, So, you have already dropped out of college. Will you give the rest of your inheritance to us? I replied, You must be living on planet delusion, Dad. There is no way I am dropping out of college. You and your new family do not deserve my inheritance. How dare you say that to us? Me and my kids are also your family. We deserve whatever inheritance you get from others. Families share, so you need to give us the money right now. What family, Jennifer? You and your kids have never made me feel like family. My mom was betrayed by the two of you. You and Dad mean nothing to me, and neither do your kids. So, I will not be dropping out and giving you any money. You cannot insult us in our own home, Esther. You need to apologize to us right now. I'm very close to kicking you out of the house. Don't test my patience. I'm glad you brought up the topic of kicking out people from the house. Well, I guess I have some surprises for you too. Here, why don't you read this? I gave them the papers and let them read what was written on it. Their faces went paler with every word they read. By the time they had stopped reading, both Dad and Jennifer were in disbelief. Dad started to shake from what he had read in the documents. Where did you get these documents? This can't be true. This is impossible. Yes, this is true, Dad. Grandpa has signed over the ownership of the house to me. He had this plan all along. When I told him about the way you and your new family are treating me, he put my name on the house. No, that's impossible. This house belongs to us, not you. Peter cannot give the house to you. Dad promised me the house ever since I was young. He cannot give it away to you. It should belong to me. I'll make him give the house to me. Yes, abandon his other grandkids. Peter can't abandon his son, his wife. Talking to Grandpa won't be of any help. The house has already been transferred to my name. It's not his property anymore. It's now mine, and you should not waste your time on Grandpa. You have worse things to worry about, Dad and Jennifer. What the hell do you mean, Esther? I don't like the way you're speaking to me. Well, in that case, I won't speak to you at all, Dad. Here, you can now take these documents and make sense of them yourself. Enjoy your lovely karma, guys. Bye. As I was leaving, I could see that my dad and Jennifer were reading the second document with great curiosity. This time, they looked absolutely shell-shocked and started to shout my name. By that time, I was already making my way out. I ran to my car, got in, and drove away before they could get hold of me.
You must be wondering what was in the second document. Well, it was an eviction notice. I legally gave them a month to leave the house that now belongs to me. It was just the start of my revenge. I drove straight to my grandpa's house after serving Dad the eviction notice. I knew that Grandpa would be waiting for me. After I reached him, we would start our second step of the plan. When I got to Grandpa's house, I gave him the green signal. The eviction papers have been served, Grandpa. They know that the house belongs to me now. You can go ahead and do what you want. Good job, Esther. Now I'm going to call my friend, who is Richard's boss. I requested my friend to give my son the job because he was in financial debt. I thought he needed the money to pay child support and take care of you. And though he had no intention of taking care of you. So, it's time to take the job back from him. Do you really want to do this, Grandpa? They might show up at your place and make a scene or beg for money. They can beg as much as they want, Esther. They won't get a penny out of me. That's a promise. I won't let them go for neglecting you. It's my responsibility to protect my granddaughter now. Grandpa became the best person in my life during that time. His love for me knew no bounds, and it truly showed me what a real family does. True to his words, Grandpa called his friend to get Dad fired. He also called his lawyer to talk about inheriting Dad. Around an hour or two after everything went down, Grandpa started receiving angry calls and texts from both Dad and Jennifer. At first, Grandpa ignored them. But then he decided to give Dad a piece of his mind. He picked up the call and said, "What the hell do you want, Richard? I think I have made it clear through my actions that I'll be of no help to you. Dad, you can't do this to me. You can't do this to your own son. What kind of a father are you? How can you destroy your own son's life? You keep forgetting something, Richard. I am being the same kind of father that you were to Esther. I'm not doing something out of the ordinary, Richard. I'm mirroring your actions. You tried to make Esther give up her inheritance and her studies. When she refused, you threatened to kick her out. I know everything, Richard. Don't teach me how to be a father. What I do with my daughter is none of your business. She has become a spoiled brat because of you. She doesn't respect me or my wife. She doesn't want to share her inheritance. Yes, she doesn't want to share the inheritance her mom left for her. She doesn't want to give money to the people who betrayed her and her mother. She has done nothing wrong. I've helped you a lot in life because I wanted you to learn to be a good dad. You haven't done anything but make a fool out of me. I'm done enabling you, Richard. In a few days' time, you will be completely disinherited." Grandpa said that and cut the call on Dad's face. It was glorious for me. Grandpa also looked like he had finally dealt with Dad like he should have done before. He requested me to stay with him for a few days until he sorts things out. He had a feeling that Dad and Jennifer would show up at my dorm and make a scene. He didn't want that to happen. My roommate informed me that my dad and stepmother did try to meet me at the dorm. When they didn't find me there, they came straight to Grandpa's. They demanded to know where I was and accused me of destroying the family. Dad, you can't stop me from parenting my own child. I am her father and her legal guardian. I have the right to see her when I want. I'm a full-grown adult, Dad. You made it very clear that since I turned 18, your responsibilities towards me have ended. Well, guess what? It also means that you no longer have any legal rights to punish me or take me with you. Listen to me, Richard. If you know what's best for you, you will take your wife and leave my house immediately. I have already made your life hell. Don't make me call the police on you too. Trust me, son. I won't hesitate even for a second. That was enough to make Dad leave me and Grandpa alone. Jennifer tried to cause a fuss, but Dad dragged her away. After this incident,
There were a few days of radio silence from them. However, when their eviction date came near, the tears and begging restarted on their own. They came back to the house to beg us to let them stay. Apparently, they had no savings and no means to rent a place. Their kids refused to get jobs to help them out and also refused to move out, despite being well over 20. Grandpa and I didn't pay any attention to them. When the eviction period was over, Dad and his new family had to leave my home. Dad showed up at our doorstep with his bags. He said that Jennifer had decided to file for divorce since he couldn't provide for her anymore. Dad broke down in tears and begged us to give him another chance, but it was too late for him. I told him that I wanted nothing to do with him. The last I heard, Dad is currently crashing on a friend's couch and trying to find a new job. His last removal from the job didn't look good on his CV, so people were rejecting his application left and right. At this rate, he'll be forced to take a huge payout and work below his last designation. I have no idea where Jennifer and her kids are, but I know that she has filed for divorce. I guess she is on the lookout for her next victim. Meanwhile, Grandpa and I are still as close as ever and working hard at college. My current dream is to follow in the footsteps of my mom. Please wish me luck. Hi, my name is Valerie and I'm 29 years old. I've wanted to talk about this for a long time, but due to legal issues, I couldn't until now. Now that I can, I want to share my story as a warning to my mother-in-law. I don't want her to come near us again. Adrian and I met because of our mothers. His mother, Felicia, and my mother, Veronica, were old friends. One day, they met for coffee after many years and realized they both had single children. They decided to set us up, and a week later, Adrian and I found ourselves at the same coffee shop. Though it was a bit awkward that our mothers set us up, we quickly warmed up to each other. We found out we had a lot in common, like our love for action movies and pizza. We were so engrossed in our conversation that we didn't notice the time passing. As the sun began to set, we said goodbye but promised to meet again soon. The next week, we met for a newly released action movie and pizza. We continued to go on dates almost every week for the next 2 months. I found myself falling deeply in love with Adrian. He also fell in love with me, which I could tell because his face would light up every time he saw me. He paid close attention to everything I said, and if I mentioned something I wanted, he would often surprise me with it on our next date. I loved his sense of humor, how attentive he was, and how much he cared for me. Because of this, I was the one to make the first move and ask him to be my boyfriend. He enthusiastically said yes. We officially introduced each other as a couple to our parents. Both our mothers were overjoyed and proud that they had brought us together. However, over time, I noticed a change in Felicia's behavior toward me. She became cold and distant, sometimes making snide remarks under her breath. When I asked her why she was behaving that way or why she said something rude, she always told me it was nothing or tried to convince me I was imagining things. This bothered me a lot, and one day, I spoke to Adrian about it. He got angry and promised to make sure his mother treated me properly. I was grateful for that. I knew how much Adrian loved his mother, but the fact that he would stand up for me against her made me incredibly happy. I don't know what Adrian said to his mother, but after that, Felicia treated me like she used to before her behavior changed. I was grateful and enjoyed the stress-free time. Adrian and I dated for 2 years before deciding to get married. Our wedding was a small and intimate ceremony with only our closest friends and family present. Shortly after we got married, tragedy struck. Adrian's mother, Felicia, had her house burned down due to faulty electrical wiring. Thankfully, she was safe. Felicia was alright and unharmed as she had been out when the house caught fire. Since she had no place to stay, we opened our home to her. She lived with us for the next year. During that year, Adrian and I experienced great success in our careers. We were in a good place to start a family and decided to try. Within 2 months, I got pregnant. Adrian and I were overjoyed. We had always talked about being parents, and the fact that our dream was coming true made us feel really good. However, our joy slowly started to fade as Felicia gradually became more controlling. I suffered from a lot of morning sickness and cramping. My legs got swollen, making it hard to do household chores because all my energy was spent at work. Felicia couldn't stand this. She would yell at me to do her work. One day, I came home early from work because I was in too much pain. I lay down on the bed and took a short nap. But I was rudely awakened a little while later by Felicia. She began yelling at me for not having done her laundry. Disoriented from being woken up, I asked Felicia what she was talking about.
Valerie, why didn't you do the laundry today? Now I have nothing to wear. Wait, what? Why didn't you do your own laundry? It's not my responsibility. It's your responsibility as the host to take care of that. I'm literally in so much pain right now. Are you trying to start a fight about this? Oh, come on. You're just making a big deal out of it. Pregnancy isn't that bad. You're exaggerating for attention. You have no idea what I'm going through. It's not easy for me to manage work and house chores when I'm feeling so unwell. That's not my problem. I was pregnant once too, and I never experienced all this. Get out. Get out. Get out of the room. Get out of the house. Get out of my life. How dare you talk to me like I'm faking everything? Who are you? Can you feel what I'm feeling? Get out. Felicia looked scared and quickly left the room. I couldn't believe her audacity. How dare she try to tell me my pain wasn't real? What would I gain from faking my pain? At the same time, I was yelling at Felicia. Adrian had come home from work. He worriedly ran upstairs to check on me and saw his mother hurry out of the room in fear. He walked into our room carefully and saw me crying hysterically on the bed. He quickly sat down next to me and hugged me, letting me cry for a while before asking why I was crying. I recounted everything that had happened with Felicia and how she had been constantly yelling at me whenever I didn't do the house chores. Adrian got really angry and stood up to talk to his mother, but I stopped him. He saw my pleading face and calmed down. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I knew how upset you'd get. I didn't want you to end up evicting your mother, causing more tension between you two. I felt sorry for her, so I kept it to myself. Babe, I understand why you did that, but I should have known what was going on. I want you to share everything with me, especially when it's affecting you like this. I'm sorry, darling. I should have told you, but I didn't want to cause more problems. You never have to bear these things alone. We're a team, remember? I promise you I'll talk to my mother calmly about her behavior, and I want you to be there with me for that conversation. Together, we walked into Felicia's room. I was nervous about what Adrian was going to do. I know that he gets very protective of me, and his temper isn't the best. While I was hurt, I hoped he wouldn't do something he regretted. Felicia looked surprised and asked why we were in her room. Why are you both in my room? What's going on? Enough with the act. Valerie told me everything. You've been constantly yelling at her about the household chores. Well, she should be doing them. After all, I'm just a guest here, right? You could have either done them yourself or waited for me to do them. You didn't need to bother Valerie like that. It's a woman's job to handle household chores. You would never catch me asking you for help with these kinds of tasks. I don't care about your beliefs. It's my house, my rules. I'm your mother. You can't tell me what to do. This is my home, and if you can't respect that, then maybe it's time you find another place to live. You can't do that. I have nowhere else to go. The only reason I haven't evicted you already is because Valerie asked me not to, but if you cross the line again, I won't hesitate. I promise I won't do it again. Just please don't kick me out. You need to change, Mom. Treat Valerie with respect like the family she is to us. All right. The rest of my pregnancy went relatively smoothly. My symptoms eased as I progressed further along. Finally, I gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Adrian and I were overjoyed to welcome our precious daughter into our family. We named her Ava. I stayed in the hospital for 2 more days after giving birth. On the 3rd day, Adrian picked us up from the hospital before he left for work and dropped us home. Felicia warmly greeted the 3 of us. Oh, look at my precious granddaughter. You've done such a wonderful job, Valerie. She's the most beautiful bundle of joy. Thank you, Felicia. It means a lot coming from you. Valerie needs some rest now, Mom. She just gave birth, and Ava kept her up through the night. Don't worry, I'll take care of the baby. You go and get some rest, Valerie. I don't want to be away from Ava so soon. Trust me, you'll need this rest soon enough. Mom will take good care of her. You rest, dear. I'll be here to look after Ava. All right, but just for a couple of hours. Then I'll take over. That sounds fair. You rest now, and I'll do the same later. Thank you, Mom. With that, Adrian left for work. I went to sleep, and Felicia looked after Ava. I woke up 2 hours later to Ava crying loudly. I got worried and went to check on what was going on. The sound of Ava crying was coming from Felicia's room. I didn't know what was happening, whether Felicia was purposely ignoring my daughter or if she was somehow sleeping through the loud noise. I knocked on Felicia's door but got no response. I tried to open the door, but it was locked. Panic started to set in. I began banging on the door and yelling for Felicia to open it.
After 2 minutes, she finally opened the door just enough for me to see a portion of her face. Felicia, what are you doing? Let me see Ava. I'm just trying to teach you a lesson. You can't rely on Adrian for everything. You need to take responsibility for your duties around the house. This is not the way to teach a lesson. Give me my child right now. Complete your chores, and then you can have Ava back. It's time you learn to handle your responsibilities. What is wrong with you? Remember, the longer you take to complete the chores, the longer your child goes hungry. Fear replaced the anger in me. I was ready to do anything that Felicia asked as long as Ava was safe. I couldn't understand why she was being so cruel to me right after I had given birth, but I didn't have the luxury of arguing about it. I needed my baby fed and safe. I asked Felicia what needed to be done. Felicia told me there was a pile of dishes to be washed, the house needed to be vacuumed because it had gotten dusty, and the common bathroom had to be scrubbed clean. She also said I had to finish everything before Adrian came back and that I couldn't tell him anything about it. Otherwise, she would make things worse for me. I nodded through my sobs and left to complete the chores. I sobbed because I was still in pain, but I knew I had no choice. I spent the next couple of hours toiling away to make the house clean for Felicia. I had to take a few painkillers to stop me from fainting from pain and exhaustion. I also had to be careful not to strain my stitches and tear them. All in all, I was having a tough time and kept crying as I did the chores. I wanted to tell Adrian because this was beyond cruel, but I was scared about what Felicia might do to Ava. I was glad that Felicia had managed to get Ava to stop crying, but I was still scared about what the future held for us. I just wished there was some way out of this. The universe heard my wish and did more than I had hoped for. That day, Adrian arrived home 2 hours early to surprise Ava and me. When he walked into the house, he couldn't find me anywhere. He saw the light in the common bathroom switched on and walked in to see me on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor while sobbing. Adrian rushed over to me and asked why I was overexerting myself like this. At the sight of him, I started sobbing harder. Adrian panicked and pulled me into his arms, gently stroking my hair as he waited for me to calm down. When I did, I told him about what Felicia had done. Adrian was seething, and unlike last time, I didn't stop him. Adrian banged on Felicia's door and demanded she open up. Felicia opened the door and looked at him in surprise. Adrian, how come you came home early? Did you forget something? I didn't forget anything. I came home early because I wanted to surprise Ava and see my family, but instead, I found you trying to teach my wife a lesson in the worst possible way. Oh, come on. I was just trying to help her be a better wife and mother. She needs to learn to handle her responsibilities. Help? That was no help. It was cruel and heartless. How could you treat her like that? She needs to learn. It's for her own good. For her own good. Look at our child. You had no right to involve her in your twisted lessons. She's just a baby. I know what's best for everyone, including you. Valerie needs to change. No, you need to change. I won't let you hurt my family anymore. We're done. I want you out of our lives. Adrian, you can't be serious. I thought you cared about me. I did care about you once, but not anymore. You've crossed the line, and I won't tolerate it. I will make you pay. Adrian, please. I didn't mean for this to happen. It's too late for apologies. You need to face the consequences of your actions. He silently walked out of her room and handed Ava to me. I cried tears of joy. I knew you had to be some kind of monster to torment an innocent child like that. Anger swirled within me, and I wanted to make Felicia pay. I asked Adrian what he had done to Felicia. I'm going to file a lawsuit against her. She endangered our child and harassed you. I will make sure she pays dearly for it, Adrian declared. But Adrian, fighting a lawsuit, isn't it too much? You and Ava are my world. Nothing is too much if anyone hurts either of you. She had no right to treat you like that. Thank you for standing up for us. I can't believe she would go to such lengths to get her way. I don't know what I would have done without you here. It was terrifying. From now on, you and Ava will be safe. I won't allow anyone to harm you ever again. True to his word, Adrian filed the lawsuit. A couple of days later, Felicia was served with court summons. Felicia was shocked and asked Adrian what the summons was for. You endangered my child and harassed my wife after she gave birth. I had to file this lawsuit to hold you accountable for your actions, Adrian said firmly. Adrian, please. I didn't mean to cause harm. I was just trying to help. Your idea of help is twisted. You crossed the line, and now you have to face the consequences. We're family. You can't do this to me. Family doesn't give people the right to hurt others. You hurt Valerie and traumatize Ava. I won't stand for it. Please, I'll change. I promise I won't interfere anymore. It's too late for promises. You have no evidence against me. How will you prove it? I installed baby cameras everywhere the night before Valerie got home from the hospital. I've got more than enough evidence of you hurting my family. Adrian, I beg you don't do this. I'll do anything to make it right. You had your chance to be better. Now you must face the truth. You broke my trust, and I won't let you hurt my family any longer. In the months that followed, things moved quickly in court. Felicia was charged with a misdemeanor and sentenced to 6 months in jail plus an $800 fine. When the judge announced the sentence, Felicia broke down and started wailing in the courtroom. Adrian didn't seem to care about her tears and instead looked satisfied that she got what she deserved. As I watched Felicia get escorted out of the courtroom in handcuffs, I couldn't help but feel relieved. I knew that for at least the next 6 months, my family and I would be free of Felicia's toxic behavior. Meanwhile, Adrian and I focused on raising our newborn daughter Ava and didn't let Felicia's actions define us. We found strength in each other and the support of our friends and loved ones. While Felicia was in jail, she had time to think about what she had done. At the same time, Adrian and I worked on healing from the hurt she caused. I couldn't fully forgive her, but I knew it was important to move forward for our own sake and our families. Felicia finished her jail time and sought counseling to make amends for her actions. I wanted to believe she could change, but I remained cautious and never let her come close to us again. One time she tried, and I threatened to get a restraining order. Our lives gradually got back to normal. The pain Felicia caused was still there, but we focused on building a better future for our family and cherishing the happiness Ava brought into our lives.
Hello, beautiful people. My name is Lena, and I'm here to tell you an amazing story about how I got sweet revenge on my horrible mother-in-law, Pam. Let's start with the basics. My husband, Key, and I met through mutual friends and got married after dating for 3 years. Key is a wonderful man, largely because of his father, Rick, who is also amazing. However, I can't say the same for his mother, Pam. Pam is a bitter and entitled woman who thinks the world revolves around her. She has high expectations but neither the brains nor the skills to achieve them. Both she and Rick had modest jobs and lived a modest life. While Rick was content, Pam always wanted more and often looked down on others. She even criticized Rick for not earning enough to provide her with a luxurious lifestyle. When Key got a good job, Pam quit hers and expected Key and Rick to cover all her expenses. When Key and I moved in together, we both worked and carefully planned our expenses. Key stopped giving his mother money whenever she asked, which made Pam furious at me. She accused me of taking her son's money and warned me that she wouldn't allow me to bankrupt him. I told her I had a good job and didn't need Key's money, but she didn't believe me. She thought I was just a useless girl who would eventually rely on Key as a cash cow. Despite her efforts, Key and I got married, which made her even angrier. Pam never accepted me and constantly made fun of me and my lifestyle. She especially loved to mock my old, beat-up car, comparing it to the nice Honda Key bought her 3 years ago. Despite her insults, I kept quiet because I liked Rick and didn't want to cause problems between Key and his mom. This worked until one fateful night at a family dinner. Pam made another joke about my car, saying her friend thought it was going to the junkyard and that I must be desperate to still use it. Key defended me and said, "Don't worry, Dad, the jokes end today. Next time your friend sees Lena's car, she'll be surprised. Lena has booked a brand new car. She'll have the best car in the family." Pam was shocked and upset to hear that I paid $30,000 for the new car, while Rick and Key were genuinely happy. You see, I had always dreamed of a particular car, which is why I never upgraded my old one despite its issues. I saved for a long time, and by the time my old car died, I had enough money to buy my dream car. Key was super supportive and happy that I achieved my dream. When Key told Pam about my new car, he was excited, but I was wary of her reaction. This is what she said next. "What? You're getting a new car? A car that costs $30,000? Are you insane? Do you think my son's money grows on trees?" "Mom, relax. Lena's buying the car with her own money. It's her dream car, and she worked hard to save for it." "That's great, Lena. I'm so proud of you. You deserve it since you worked so hard for it. Now you'll have the best car in our family." Pam, however, was furious. No. This can't be happening.
This useless woman can't have a better car than me. Lena, you better cancel the purchase. You'll be disrespecting your in-laws by making such extravagant purchases. Everyone was surprised by what Pam said. I wasn't sure if I had heard her right. Was she really asking me to give up my car because she couldn't afford one as nice? Yes, she was, because she was that entitled. Rick and Key were both shocked and uncomfortable. I said, no, I don't think I will. Driving a better car doesn't mean I'm disrespecting anyone. It's my money I'm spending. Rick chimed in, we don't mind, Lena. Pam, what the hell are you saying? She's not being disrespectful by buying better things. Well, it is disrespectful to me. Lena, I don't care what you think. You will cancel the purchase immediately. If you're smart, you'll double the cash and get new cars for both of us. Oh hell no, Pam. If you want a new car, you can go back to work and get it the way I did. I don't see why I should get you a new car for nothing. Your car is in perfectly good shape. I will not drive an old car when someone useless like you will be driving a $30,000 car. You have two options, Lena. Either buy a cheaper car or buy two expensive ones. I take one while you take the other. You are delusional, Pam. That's not how things work. If you want something, you should work for it. This conversation is ridiculous. I think we'll go home. Key agreed with me and we left. But Pam never stopped bothering us. She kept telling me to cancel the purchase or face consequences. That set off alarm bells for me. I showed the texts to Key, but he told me to ignore them, thinking his mom was just being dramatic. He often ignored her or gave in to her demands, but I didn't think it was wise this time. So I became extra careful. Thank God I did. 2 weeks after my car was delivered, I was at home on leave when I heard a knock at the door. I opened it to find a cheerful Pam walking into my living room. I was confused and cautious about why she was in such a good mood. After some small talk, she asked for coffee. While I was in the kitchen, I heard the front door close. I rushed out to see Pam driving away in my new car. She stole my car. I was in shock. I called Key and asked him to come home immediately. He said he would be on his way. I was panicking, trying to figure out what was going on. My panic grew when Pam returned with my car in terrible condition. It hit me. She wrecked my car on purpose. She smugly got out and handed me the keys. I was shaking with rage. What the hell did you do, Pam? You wrecked my car. Why? You can't have something I can't. You don't deserve to drive a new car while I have to drive an old one. I deserve what you have, probably more. Now that your car is wrecked, you'll have to drive an old beat-up car like the rest of us. I laughed at her. It was hilarious. She thought I would go back to driving my old, non-functional car. How funny. She had no idea what I was about to do. Pam looked at me like I had lost my mind. I was laughing like a maniac after she destroyed my $30,000 car. Anyone else would be crying, but not me. I calmed down and went to the car, taking some pictures. I reached inside and removed something from the rearview mirror. Pam looked panicked. What is that? What are you holding? She asked. Oh, Pam, did you really think my world would end if you wrecked my car? Sorry to burst your bubble, but that's not happening. Do you want to know what I just pulled out? It's a dash cam, Pam. No, that's impossible. That's fake. It can't be real. I checked for a dash cam. It wasn't there before. You really are behind on technology, Pam. This one goes behind the rearview mirror and stores videos on a memory card. With this, I have plenty of proof to land you in jail, and my insurance will cover it all. Pam looked like she had landed in hell. She was panicking and looked ready to faint. She didn't think she would get caught. Now that I had threatened to call the cops, she was freaking out. She still somehow denied it and kept saying the device was fake. You're trying to scare me, Lena. It won't work. You just got the car. So what, Pam? Do you think I'm a dumbass like you? I pre-ordered the dash cam before I'd even picked up the car. It's an expensive car, and I wasn't going to leave it without surveillance. Plus, I already suspected you might try something stupid. I was right. Now that you've messed up my car, I guess we'll have to call the cops. No, you can't do that. You can't call the cops. Pam was visibly panicking, not knowing what to do. I was already on the phone with the police, who said they would be on their way. Pam stood frozen, looking like a deer in headlights. Just then, Key came home from work. He took one look at my wrecked car and said, "What the hell, Lena? What happened to the car? Are you hurt?" "I'm fine, Key. As you can see, my car is a wreck now, thanks to your mom. If you want to know how this happened, I'm sure your dear mother will be willing to give you the details." What are you talking about, Mom? Did you do this to Lena's car? Pam tried to be smart. She thought she could use her son to get out of trouble and change the story to paint me as the villain. She started crying loudly and clung to Key's arm. Key looked confused and didn't know what to do or say. Pam used this opportunity to say, Key, your wife wrecked her car and is now blaming me. She knows I can't afford a car like that, so she's accusing me out of jealousy. She's telling everyone I was jealous of her car and wrecked it. I only told Key and I never said those words. I just told him the truth. That he wrecked my car. Lena, shut up. I have done no such thing. How dare you accuse me of something so horrible? Key, Lena is threatening to call the cops on me. I didn't do anything wrong. She's trying to pass off her reckless driving on me. Are you saying you didn't wreck my car, Pam? I didn't do it. You can't prove I was the one who wrecked your car. Here's where things get interesting, Pam. You see this beautiful dash cam? It has both front and back facing cameras. You know what that means? It means it also records who is driving the car. Pam didn't see this coming. She thought she could convince everyone I was lying. As I said, she was out of touch with technology and didn't know double-sided dash cams existed. Her expression confirmed my doubts. Pam now knew she was trapped. I had wisely made sure my car was well protected. My insurance would take care of the repair costs. All I had to do was file a police report. This meant Pam was in deep trouble with no escape in sight. She started to tremble as tears gathered in her eyes again. Key looked stunned and quickly pushed Pam away just as the cops drove up to the house. Mom, how could you do this? Lena was right. You planned this ever since I accidentally told you about the new car. Key, son, it was a mistake. I was just a little jealous, that's all. I couldn't afford a car like that. I got lost in jealousy and did something stupid. Please forgive me. Forgive you. Mom, you destroyed the car, stole someone else's property, wrecked it on purpose, and then tried to blame my wife. You think I can forgive that? Pam kept crying and begging Key for forgiveness while I was busy telling the cops what happened and handing over all the evidence. I connected my phone to the dash cam to show them the proof. Once they confirmed what happened, they proceeded to arrest Pam. She immediately panicked and said, Key, you can't let them arrest me. I'm your mother. I just made a small mistake. Don't let them send me to jail. You have no right to ask that from me. You committed a crime and showed no real remorse. You didn't even apologize to Lena. You're on your own, Mom. There is no way I'm helping you. Lena, we can solve this between ourselves. There's no reason to get the cops involved. We are family, right? You wouldn't want your mother-in-law arrested, would you? Actually, no, Pam. You made it clear that I'm not family. It would give me great pleasure to see you arrested for committing a crime. Officers, take her away. I'm firm in my decision. I will sue her for stealing my car and damaging it. Pam cried out and screamed, seeking Key's help, but he turned away, unable to forgive her betrayal.
But he moved away as well. The cops arrested her and put her in the police car, driving her off to the station. Key and I went inside the house, and I called my insurance company to inform them about the situation. Once I was done, Key sat me down to apologize. Lena, I'm so sorry. I could have stopped this from happening. My mom has always been so difficult with you, but I didn't do anything to stop her. It's okay, you did stand up for me more than once. I don't blame you for trying to keep your mom in your life, but after today, I'm done with her. Oh, trust me, Lena. I'm done with her as well. I don't want anything to do with her anymore. I've been giving in to her demands for a while now. I didn't see how selfish and spoiled she was getting. I guess this is a wake-up call for me too. I hope Dad sees it as well. Just then, Key's phone rang. It was his dad, Rick, calling to understand what was going on. Key answered the call and put it on speaker. Hey Dad, you're on loudspeaker. Lena's here as well. We assume this is about Mom. Yes, it is. Key, what's going on? Your mom called from the police station saying she had been arrested. She told me that Lena wrecked her new car and blamed it on her. I don't understand what's going on. Was Lena trying to spin the story to get her way again? Rick assumed Pam was telling the truth, but he wasn't oblivious to his wife's antics. He sought confirmation before believing her outright. Key, on the other hand, was super pissed at what Pam tried to pull. Dad, Mom is lying. She stole Lena's car and wrecked it on purpose. She took the keys when Lena wasn't looking. The dash cams on the car caught everything. What the hell, Key? Why did your mother lie to me? This is insane. I assume she wants me to bail her out.
Rick, this is the same story she told Key when the cops tried to arrest her. She thought I didn't have proof of her driving my car. Well, I have a double camera dash cam, so her lies didn't work. Oh God, I should have seen this coming. She had been watching your new car for a while, Lena. I thought she was just venting. I never imagined she would go this far. Rick was in complete shock after hearing the details of what happened. He was furious with Pam and ashamed of what she had tried to pull. Key and Rick had a private talk after which they hung up. Key later told me that Rick had no intention of bailing Pam out. He was both furious and disappointed. He also sent me an apology text, telling me not to hate him for his wife's actions. It broke my heart. I hoped he would do better for himself. He didn't deserve such a horrible wife like Pam. Well, guess what, guys? The universe listened to me. Rick met with Pam at the police station and refused to bail her out. He tried to get some remorse out of her and see if she was willing to change herself. But Pam wasn't done sabotaging herself. She actually screamed at him for being a useless husband who couldn't give her a good car or bail her out of prison. That was rich coming from someone who left her job to mooch off her son and husband. Rick was so angry that he told Pam he was done. He came home and called us, telling us he would be filing for divorce. He was done being a verbal punching bag for his wife. A year has passed since that incident. Rick actually ended up divorcing Pam and moving in with us. The court didn't even give Pam alimony because she had willingly left her job without consulting Rick. They didn't have much, and whatever she got out of the divorce was spent on paying me back for the damages to my car. Yes, I went ahead with my case, or rather my insurance company did. I got a replacement car within a month, and all was well with me. Pam was slapped with multiple charges and made to pay a lot of money. She went back to working 2 jobs because she didn't have money to pay my insurance and sustain herself. She did try to beg Key and me for help, but we shut the door in her face. Since then, we have had no contact with her. Last I heard, she was staying with a family member who didn't tolerate her nonsense. Pam is now poor and unhappy, but I guess that's what she gets for being a greedy and entitled woman.
Hello, my name is Tony. I'm 42 years old. This story began more than 10 years ago, but we're continuing it because the main person involved has come back with so much audacity that I feel the need to share this incident with all of you. I know my sister-in-law loves to watch these, so if you're listening, I hope you're even more ashamed and embarrassed. Let's start from the very beginning. Sasha, my sister-in-law, and I were best friends even before I met her brother. We became friends in middle school and had been inseparable since the day we met. I didn't meet my husband until I was in college. I hadn't had the opportunity to meet him earlier because he was always out whenever I visited Sasha's house. When he moved away for college, I didn't get a chance to meet him. I actually met him by chance. I had seen his face in family pictures at Sasha's house, so I recognized him when I met him for the first time at a bar. He didn't know who I was and approached me. I was surprised but let it play out. By the end of the evening, I told him I was his sister's best friend. He was shocked but said I was too pretty to let go. He continued to pursue me, and after Sasha said it was okay, we started dating. We got married 2 years later and moved in next to Sasha and her husband Brett. After a year of marriage, Sasha and Brett had a baby girl, Via. I loved Via to bits. She was the cutest kid with the loveliest smile and laugh. The only issue was that Via was born with some birth defects that left her partially blind. For the first 5 years of her life, she struggled to adapt to her surroundings. It wasn't because she was stupid or couldn't grasp things properly. Rather, her parents refused to accept that their daughter was visually impaired. They would put her in situations where she had no experience, which were potentially dangerous because they wanted her to live a normal life. Now, don't get me wrong. I fully believe in making our societies more accessible for people with disabilities so they can live better and more normal lives. But when I say that Sasha wanted Via to live a normal life, I don't mean she wanted to make things accessible for her. One incident that comes to mind is a time we all went to a park. People usually came to the park for picnics, played dates, and exercise. Via and I went to spend some time together. There was a specific path in the park meant only for bicycles. While Sasha was absorbed in talking about something, I looked around for Via and noticed she wasn't near us. I panicked and asked Sasha if she had seen Via. Sasha, have you seen Via? I'm really worried. Don't worry about it. How can you be so calm? Via could be in serious danger. Calm down, Tony. Calm down? How could I possibly be calm? Your daughter is visually impaired.
What if she fell and seriously injured herself? You have no right to tell me how to parent my kid. Via, it's perfectly fine. I never said that you don't know how to parent your child. I'm saying that I'm literally the only one who actually cares for your daughter. You need to be more responsible. I know what's best for her, and I don't need you to interfere or tell me what I'm doing is wrong. Why are you trying to fight me right now? She could be hurt right now. You need to take this seriously. I am her mother, not you. Back off and let me handle it my way. At that point, I was too panicked and angry to continue talking to Sasha. I started retracing our steps to find Vita. Sasha kept angrily calling me back and yelling that we weren't done talking. I ignored her. My heart was racing too fast to care about Sasha. I ended up finding Via. She was crying, trying to grasp something to help her navigate, calling out for her mom and me. I felt so relieved when I saw her. I called out to her, and her face immediately lit up. She giggled as she made her way over to me. I waited as I watched her waddle over, but she was walking really close to the cycle track. Suddenly, a large number of cyclists rode the track at high speeds. My stomach dropped. I quickly got up to catch her, but before I could take my next step, Via slipped and fell straight onto the cyclist's path. The cyclist tried to brake or swerve around her. I managed to reach her just before one of the cyclists could crash into her. I held Via tightly, and she sensed my panic and started crying. I calmed her and myself down. Sasha had witnessed the whole thing. She came over and grabbed Via out of my hands. You shouldn't have interfered with Via. She needs to learn to understand her environment on her own. I was worried for her safety. Did you even tell her about all the dangers here? She's old enough to walk around on her own. She doesn't need constant supervision. She's only 4 years old and visually impaired. She could have been seriously hurt. Oh, come on. It's not that bad. She would have only gotten a few scratches or bruises. That's not the point. She needs proper care and guidance. You're being overprotective. Via can handle herself. Your ignorance is dangerous. One day it will hurt her. You need to take her safety seriously. Just mind your own business, Tony. She's my daughter, not yours. Fine, but remember, you're responsible for her well-being. She deserves better care. Sasha grabbed Via and walked away. I felt so baffled and angry. How could someone treat their own child this way? I wanted to protect Via and wanted Sasha to step up and be a good parent. I couldn't expect the same from her husband Brett because he was so absent from their lives, spending his entire day working. But thankfully, the universe heard my plea. It was heartbreaking the way it happened, but I was kind of glad that it did. After that incident, Sasha stopped talking to me much. I rarely got to see Via. Every time I tried, Sasha would make up some excuse and shut the door in my face. But after a year, one day Sasha and Brett showed up at my house with Via. I was surprised to see them and notice the bags they held. Hi guys, are you going on a trip? Yes. It's supposed to be a couple's trip. We were wondering if you and Noah could take care of Via while we're away. Of course, we'll take care of her. But how long will you be gone? Forever. We've had enough of Via. What? She doesn't fit our idea of what our child should look like. We can't handle it anymore. Cruel and heartless. How can you do this? You can't just abandon your own child. We've made up our minds. Here, we've signed off our parental rights, and these are her adoption papers. Take her. She's way too much of a burden. I won't let you treat her like this. She's not a burden. Oh, stop being so dramatic. Just take her if you care so much. I will take Via. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You're her parents, act like it. Before I could say anything else, Sasha and Brett walked away, got in their car, and drove off. I stood there shaking until Via tugged on my arm and asked how long her parents would be gone. Tears streamed down my face as I told her it would be years until she saw them again. Via started crying loudly, calling out for her parents. I hugged her tightly and let her cry in my arms for as long as she needed. When I finally brought her into the house, she asked if I would also send her away. My heart sank, and I wanted to cry, but I stayed strong. Via, you're going to stay with me and Uncle Noah from now on. Does that mean my mom will come back? I don't know, sweetheart. I can't say for sure. Okay, but you and Uncle Noah are more fun than my parents anyway. Oh, thank you, sweetie. We'll take good care of you and we'll always be here for you. Can we have more game nights and movie nights? Absolutely. We'll all have fun together. Yay, I love you, Aunt Tony. I love you too, Via. Always remember that. That evening, I told Noah about everything that had happened. He was furious with his sister and brother-in-law. He tried calling them, but his calls always went to voicemail. As the days passed, we slowly accepted our new reality. We were overjoyed to take care of Via. Even though she had been neglected, she was still very well behaved. It was a joy to watch her grow up. Eventually, days turned into months and months into years. Via grew into a beautiful young woman. We got along so well that we even forgot about Sasha and Brett. Via stopped calling us Aunt Tony and Uncle Noah 6 months into living with us. We became her parents in every way, and we loved her deeply. Though she was still mostly blind, she got much better at finding her way around. When she was 12, her doctor told us there was a new development in medicine that could restore Via's vision. We were shocked and asked if it could be fully restored. The doctor said, while it might not be 100%, they could achieve about 85%. We were overjoyed. That night, we sat down with Via to talk about the news. Via, sweetie, how do you feel about the news? I'm scared, Mom. I don't want to lose what little sight I have. It's okay to be scared, but we'll make sure to find the best doctors to help you. Really, Dad? Do you promise it won't make me fully blind? We promise. We'll choose the best places with the highest success rates. You'll be safe. Okay, I want to do it, but I'm scared. It's natural to feel scared, but we'll be with you every step of the way. I know. I want to see what my real parents look like. The fact that the first people Via wanted to see after her surgery were me and Noah made us both tear up. We were blessed with an absolute angel in our lives. The surgery was scheduled for the next month, so we spent the days leading up to it together, having fun game nights and movie nights to distract us from the nervousness. Finally, the day of the surgery arrived, and it went successfully. It took Via 6 months to fully heal, but Noah and I stood by her every step of the way. During this time, we grew even closer as a family. The next few years were blissful. Via regained a good portion of her sight, and it was adorable to watch her look at everything with fascination. The best moment was when she finally got to see Noah and my faces clearly. She began crying and telling us that she loved us. We hugged her close and told her the same. Since then, she would take a good look at us every day and compliment us. She said it was her way of making up for years of only getting compliments and never being able to give any back. One day, our happy little bubble burst. Noah and I had taken the day off because Via was on summer vacation and was hanging out with her friends while we prepared lunch. We heard a loud banging on the door. My heart started pounding. Noah cautiously approached the door and opened it a little. His eyes widened and he quickly shut the door, turning to me with a pale face. I asked what was wrong, and he told me Sasha was outside. Before I could fully process what was happening, my body switched to autopilot. I threw open the door and saw Sasha standing there, looking apologetic. Tony, can I come in? You were never invited back into our lives. What do you want? Please, I'm sorry for running when things got hard and dropping my burdens at your feet. I was young and stupid. I didn't know what to do, so I ran. You still haven't changed. Really, I don't know if you have, coming here, calling the child you abandoned a burden. I just wanted to meet my daughter. No drama, I promise. Via is no longer your daughter. You signed over your parental rights to me and Noah. She's still my daughter, no matter what you say. No, she's not. You made that choice. Leave now. We don't need you here. Sasha's face paled and she stuttered, trying to come up with excuses. I didn't want to listen, so I moved to close the door, but Sasha stopped me. She then broke down and told us why she had come. I came to see Via because I need to talk to her about something serious. What could be so serious that you decided to show up after 12 years? Brett is really sick and needs stem cells. We want to try every possible DNA match, including Via. I understand, but this is a lot for Via to take in. I'll talk to her and let you know her decision in 3 days. Thank you, and I'm sorry for everything I did in the past. Apologies won't change what happened, but I'll make sure Via knows about your request. I was upset and enraged as Sasha had reached out only because she needed something, not because she cared about Via. I wanted to turn Sasha down on Via's behalf, but I knew that was wrong. So I patiently waited until Via got home. When she did, Noah and I sat her down. What's wrong, guys? You look worried. Well, your biological mother, Sasha, visited us today. Why would she come here? What does she want? She wanted to talk to you about something serious. Your biological father, Brett, is sick and needs a stem cell donor. Sasha came to see if you could be a match. Is Brett okay? Should I do it? We don't know his condition for sure, sweetie. It's your decision, and we'll support you no matter what you choose. How long do I have to decide? You have 3 days to think about it. Okay, I'll take some time to think it over. Via then said good night and locked herself in her room. No one and I were very worried. We ate our dinner in silence and left some food by Via's door in case she wanted to eat. That night, as we settled into bed, Noah and I talked about our fears. I'm really worried about Via. She seems so troubled after hearing about Brett's condition. I know, it's a lot for her to process. I just hope she makes the right decision for herself. Me too. I can't bear to see her go through more pain. We have to be there for her no matter what she decides. She needs our support. You're right, we'll stand by her just like we always have. We'll give her some space to think, and when she's ready, she'll let us know her decision. The next 3 days passed painfully slowly. Via continued to stay in her room. The only sign she was alive was the food we left outside her door being eaten. It hurt us to see her struggling, but we knew she needed her own space and time to think. Finally, on the night of the third day, she came down and sat with us for dinner. Dear sweetheart, how are you feeling now? I'm okay. I just needed time to think, and I'm sorry for worrying you. You don't have to apologize. We understand this is a big decision for you. That's right, honey. We support whatever you choose. I've made up my mind. I won't be donating anything to Brett. Are you sure about this? Yes, Dad. I have my reasons, and I want to say them with Sasha here. Okay,
We'll be here with you when you talk to her. You don't have to do it alone. Thanks. I have to admit that I was happy with what Via chose. I didn't really care about her reason for not wanting to donate. I just wanted my baby safe and sound, and I also didn't want Sasha or Brett to take advantage of her. I texted Sasha and told her to come meet us the next afternoon for lunch. The next afternoon, the four of us gathered at the dining table for lunch. Sasha looked like an anxious mess, and her head was down for the most part. She never looked directly at Via, which made all three of us annoyed. There was an awkward silence initially, but Via decided to break it. Why won't you look at me, Sasha? Oh, do you know I'm not looking at you? Mom and Dad helped fix my vision. I can see you now. They did? Why? Because we love her and want her to have the best life possible. You'd have to throw it in my face. Do you want to know my decision or not? Yes, I do. What did you decide? I've decided not to donate anything to Brett. Why should I help you after you guys left me? It's your duty as our daughter. No, I'm only Mom and Dad's daughter now. They actually care about me, unlike you. I felt insanely proud of my girl. I loved how she put Sasha in her place and how aware she was of herself. At that moment, I felt a huge surge of pride in the way my daughter had grown. But now, instead of being upset or angry at Via, Sasha turned to me. It's all your fault that Via is making this decision. You poisoned her mind against me. That's not true at all. We never told her anything negative about you. We only supported her and let her make her own choices. Via is old enough to decide for herself, and we'll stand by her no matter what. You're spoiling her. I'll call CPS and get her taken away from you. But you never cared about me for 12 years, and now you only come back because you need something. You didn't even ask me how I was doing. I'm grateful that I got my sight back because I got to see my biological mother for the first and last time. With that, Via got up from the table and walked into her room. Sasha looked gobsmacked. No, and I calmly asked her to leave our house. Sasha tried to fight, but we didn't entertain her. No squared up to her and scared her away. We gave Via some time to cool down and collect herself after Sasha left. We then cautiously knocked on her door. When she let us in, we had a quick talk with her. Before we could even ask her how she was doing, she smiled big at us and told us not to worry. We knew she didn't want to really talk about it at the moment. So Noah suggested movie nights, and we enthusiastically made our way to the living room to spend the rest of the day binge-watching crappy movies. It's been a year since everything that happened. Via has healed and grown a lot more. We haven't brought up the incident with Via, but we know that she's okay, and that's all that matters. If there's only one thing I've been saying, it's that there's nothing better than loving and raising your child in the right way. And no matter what the consequences, always stand up for yourself. Hey, I'm Ava. From the moment I met my mother-in-law, we didn't get along. She was rude and condescending, and it was clear she didn't approve of me as her son's wife. Things got worse when my husband encouraged me to buy our first home. He paid for part of it, and my mother-in-law started criticizing every little thing about it. She even bought us ugly decorations that didn't match my style, knowing how much I wanted a beautiful home.
The worst part was when she tried to turn my husband against me. She would call him and lie about things I supposedly said or did, trying to make him doubt our relationship. I tried to stay positive and hope things would get better, but eventually, I had to stand up for myself. I invited her over for dinner, hoping to improve our relationship. I spent hours cooking and preparing the meal, but she barely touched her food. "Mary, Ansel and I are so glad to have you over for dinner. Ansel told me to make your favorite dish," I said. "Unfortunately, this looks like my least favorite dish. This isn't food. I wouldn't feed this to an animal. Do you call this cooking? Do you even know how bread is made?" she responded. "I'm trying to patch things up with you and bridge the gap, but you never meet me in the middle. You're just mean," I replied. "Well, it's still pretty inedible. How does Ansel eat this? You should take some cooking classes," she said. "Mary, I put a lot of time and effort into making this meal. Please try to enjoy it," I pleaded. "Fine, I'll try a little more. But you need to step up your game. You don't impress me enough by just being Ansel's wife," she said. "I'm not trying to impress you, Mary. I just wanted to make a nice dinner for us to enjoy together," I said. "I heard from Ansel that you burned the roast last week," she added. "I did burn the roast, but I learned from my mistake and I'm getting better. Can we please just focus on the present and enjoy this meal? Can you stop being grumpy for once?" I asked. Throughout the meal, she kept making aggressive comments and I felt uncomfortable in my own home. Ansel never stood up for me. He said it was between us to figure out and always sided with his mom. At my aunt's birthday party, which was supposed to be fun with painting and wine, things got uncomfortable when my mother-in-law showed up. "Hey, Auntie, happy birthday. This is such a cool setup. I love the idea of painting and sipping on wine," I said. "Thank you, Ava. I'm glad you like it. It's a nice way to unwind and have fun," my aunt replied. "I'm surprised to see my mother-in-law here," I said. "Oh, Mary and I are great friends. I love her accessories. Sorry, I forgot to tell you I invited her. I know you two have had some issues, but I wanted to smooth things over. Plus, she's family," my aunt explained. "You know she makes me uncomfortable. She's always rude and passive-aggressive to me," I said. "I know, and I'm sorry. Just try to have a good time tonight, and don't let her get to you," my aunt said. My mother-in-law wore a super revealing shirt and got paint on it and her stomach while getting drunk. My aunt and mom helped her clean up in the bathroom. I went to help because I didn't want to leave my mom alone with her. "You know, Jesse has been such a great boyfriend to me. He treats me like a queen and is always so thoughtful," my mother-in-law said. "Jesse? You're Jesse?" Ava told us he was absolutely horrible to her and Ansel in school, my mom said. "Oh, he's changed a lot since then. He has a great job now and always takes me out to nice restaurants and buys me gifts," she replied. "What does Ansel think of this? I thought he and Jesse had some kind of beef in the past," my aunt asked. "Oh, he doesn't know. He's too stubborn to let the past go. I'm happy and that's all that matters right now. I'll tell him when the time is right," she said. My husband's old bully Jesse was dating my mother-in-law. Ansel hated Jesse and I knew he would be upset if he found out. I talked to my mother-in-law about it and she got furious. She always made sure that Ansel and I didn't get along, and Ansel never stood up for me, which made me angry. I needed someone to stand up for me, and Ansel was far from that, so I decided to talk to her myself. "You're always trying to create tension between Ansel and me," I confronted her. "What are you talking about? I've never done anything like that," she denied. "Really? Remember when you came over for dinner and barely touched your food while making passive-aggressive comments?" I reminded her. "Oh, that. I was just feeling a little under the weather," she excused. "And what about when you wore that revealing shirt at my aunt's party and got drunk? You got paint all over yourself, and my mom and aunt had to help you clean up," I continued. "That was just a harmless mistake. I didn't mean anything by it," she replied. "And then there's Jesse, Ansel's old bully, who's now dating you. I know Ansel hates him, and yet you're still with him. I'm giving you one day to tell Ansel yourself, or I will," I warned. "Jesse is a wonderful man, and Ansel needs to learn to forgive and forget," she argued. "I don't think you understand how your actions affect us. It's about our marriage. I want us to have a good relationship, but it's hard when you're always causing problems," I explained. Later that night, I received a phone call that changed me. Living with Ansel was like living with a lazy, unproductive stranger. He often spent the entire day lounging on the couch, watching TV, and surfing the internet. Even when I asked him to help with household chores or errands, he would always come up with an excuse or simply ignore me. He was never emotionally present or supportive. He would dismiss my feelings and concerns without really listening. It felt like I was living with a stranger who had no interest in building a life together. Ansel, can you please help me with the dishes? They're piling up in the sink, I asked. I'm kind of in the middle of something right now. Can't you do them later? He replied. I have a deadline for work and I won't be able to get to them until late tonight. Can you just take a few minutes to help me out? I pleaded. I just don't see why I have to do everything you ask. I have things to do too, he said. Like what exactly? You've been sitting on the couch all day, I pointed out. I've been job hunting, okay. It's not easy finding something that fits my qualifications, he defended. I understand, but I need you to help around the house too. And speaking of which, why are you still taking rent from me for using the basement as my office? I paid for this entire house, I reminded him. Well, I need to contribute to the household expenses somehow, and the basement is technically mine since I paid for it, he argued. Are you kidding me? I own this entire house. I'm already contributing by paying for all the groceries and bills. You do nothing but ignore me and let your mother run her mouth all over the place. You are lazy, a snob, and I can't deal with you anymore, I snapped. Ansel always took advantage of my hard work. I worked 12-hour days to earn money and contribute to our household. I had the privilege of working from home, as my firm allows senior associates to stay in the comfort of their homes. Although I had bought the entire house, I used the basement to work, and Ansel kept charging me rent for it. I was fed up with it all. I hate the way things are going. You don't seem to be putting in any effort to help me around the house or with anything else, and on top of that, your mother keeps trying to control my life. I can't take it anymore, I declared. What do you want me to do, Ava? I can't just cut my mother out of my life. She raised me. I'm not asking you to cut her out, but you need to stand up for me and start contributing more around the house. If things don't change, I'm seriously considering divorce, I said. Ansel stayed quiet during the argument and later complained to his mother. Each time he did, Mary would come back with something rude to say to me, just to get at me. Seeing him there angered me. He had become extremely rude and difficult to deal with. I hated every bit of my day and just wanted an escape. To my surprise, my mother-in-law walked into my house that night and threw divorce papers at my face, flinging them across the room. Look, I know you're not happy with me right now, but you need to understand that I can't let you continue to hurt my husband in our relationship. It's not fair to him or me, I said. Oh, spare me the lecture. You think you're so perfect, but you have no idea what it takes to make a marriage work. You better keep these papers ready with your signature tomorrow. I don't want to hear a squeak from a good-for-nothing like you. You were never going to be good enough for my Ansel. I knew my baby was marrying a witch. Get out of our lives by tomorrow morning. I can't bear the sight of you. Take these papers and be out of his life. You are good for nothing, Mary retorted. That reminds me, you're about to rent out your house and move in with us for the summer. Well, let's see how that goes, she added. Oh, maybe poor Mary doesn't know there are consequences to her actions. Ansel has no money. Everything you have, the gifts, the trips, it's all because of my hard work and money. So don't act like you're some kind of queen who can do whatever she wants. Who do you think paid for that stupid diamond ring? Who do you think pays for your car? I challenged. No, it can't be. You're just spouting lies. What do you mean Ansel has no money? She asked, shocked. I mean exactly what I said. He's been living off my income and the rent he gets from me for far too long, and it's not fair to me either. He's a lazy prick who does nothing but just stakes up the room all day, I replied. Well, that's just ridiculous. Ansel is a man. He's my boy. He would never let you support him like that, she defended. I have been kind enough for a long time, and you've taken advantage of that. Ansel takes advantage of my money, and so do you. You both are just leeches who suck the life out of someone. Someday, when you aren't all old and wrinkly, maybe never. I urge you to see things from my perspective, I asserted. I looked through the divorce papers and knew this was my key to freedom. Then I heard something I never thought I would hear in a million years. Ava, I'm so sorry. Please don't look through the papers. I didn't know this. Please hear me out. I know I've been difficult to deal with, and I'm sorry for how I've treated you, Mary pleaded. Sorry? Ha, that's rich coming from you, I replied. I know, please put it down. I haven't been the best, but I'm willing to change. You never told me about the funds, she continued. You're just a bully. No wonder you and Jesse get along so well. Ansel is just as much at fault here. He's a lazy couch potato, and he takes advantage of me, and you enable his behavior, I said. Please don't sign those papers. I was the one who encouraged him to do all this. Please, I'm begging you, don't leave him. He's my son, and I love him. We can work things out, and the money? We can definitely look into that too. I can live with you, and you can continue paying us rent, she suggested. Pay you rent? In my house? I exclaimed. I can't stay in this toxic environment anymore. You guys are terrible, and I can't even look at your nasty face right now, I declared. It was hard to say, but I knew it was the truth. Ansel emerged from the couch and begged me to stay, but I knew I couldn't continue living like this. I also knew that my mother-in-law would try to talk me out of it, but I wasn't going to back down. As I picked up the papers and walked away from my mother-in-law, my heart was heavy with the weight of my decision. I knew that what I was about to do would change my life forever. I needed so much from Ansel that he could never give me. I wanted to raise a family and be a closely knit unit, but his mother was a nasty old lady, and I couldn't stand her. I called my mom and my aunt because they were the closest to me. I needed to get it off my chest. Who else would understand me better? I don't know what to do anymore. Ansel just sits around all day doing nothing. He doesn't help with the chores or contribute to the household in any way. I pay rent in my own house so that he can have an allowance, and Mary is a nightmare, I vented. Have you talked to him about it? My mom asked. Yes, but he gets defensive and says he's trying his best, but can see he's not putting in any effort, I replied. That's not fair to you, Ava. You work hard to earn your own money, and he should be contributing too, my aunt added. Exactly. It's frustrating to see him act this way, especially since his mother so easily manipulates him. I want to talk to him and see how it goes, I said. I reached home and received several voicemails from Mary begging me to stay. Do you even know about this? Is it something you want to fight about again? God, you're annoying. Tell me, Ansel said. Wow, the whole family is crazy, huh? Anyway, your mother is dating Jesse. Plus, thanks for never telling me that you've wanted a divorce for the longest time, I retorted. She's dating Jesse. She knows how horrible he was to me. How can she do this to me and Ava? With your nagging, I don't want to be with somebody like you. My mother was right. You are not good enough for me. I don't want to sign the papers, but you are unbearable. I don't know why I even bothered to beg you to stay. I can do just fine without you. I'm a man. I can support myself, Ansel declared. I am not good enough for you. Have you taken a look at yourself? You haven't showered in 5 days because not a single job notification has come in. You've been on unemployment forever. It's pathetic to see you like this, I said. Ansel finally looked at me. What do you think about me, Ava? Are you leaving me? We just wanted to frighten you. If I told you how you made me feel, you would reconsider. The papers were a way to show you that you were being difficult and terrible to me. We were trying to teach you a lesson, Ansel said, his voice tinged with desperation. Wow, I can't even begin to start with you guys. You're insane, and I can't believe this is happening. I have signed the papers and have also called my attorney. You will hear from him soon. I want you out of this house by 5 p.m. today. Here's the $20,000 you paid for that stupid basement, I said, throwing the money at Ansel's face. Mary stood at the door, staring at me in shock. I won't sign the papers, Ansel declared defiantly. Okay then, you leave me with no choice but to report your mother for abuse and theft to the authorities.
You both have been stealing from me and asking me to pay rent in my own house, I threatened. What about us? What about our life? Ansel asked, his voice breaking. Good luck with it. I hope you don't end up starving under a bridge. Do not ever contact me again. I want you out by tonight, I said firmly. As I walked away, I heard Ansel muttering that none of this was fair to him and that I was just being mean. Mary kept begging me to stay, falling at my feet, but I knew leaving them behind was the most important thing I could do for myself. Ansel was a person I had put on a pedestal. I needed to realize that he was human, and a terrible one at that. Leaving him and kicking them out of my house would be the most peaceful decision I had ever made for myself. This was not an easy decision. I still ponder over it and feel terrible for the same. I had spent far too long being taken advantage of and manipulated, and I was ready to move on and start a new chapter. After they left, I began to focus on myself and my happiness. I bought a new home in a different city and started to build a life that was entirely my own.
I began to work on my firm with a few colleagues from my workplace, and the process of building a business from scratch was challenging but exciting. Everything was growing for me, and I wanted to expand further. Yay! I'm impressed by what you've accomplished so far with the firm. You've been working tirelessly, and it's really paying off, Ethan, one of my colleagues said. Thank you so much, Ethan. It's been a lot of hard work, but it's all worth it. I'm so excited about what the future holds for us, I replied. Speaking of the future, have you thought about expanding the firm? Maybe bringing on more employees or opening up another location, he asked. Actually, I have. I've been doing some research, and it's a possibility. I'm still in the planning stages, but I'm considering it, I said. I also adopted a son who brings joy and light to my life every day. He's my bottle of sunshine, and I love him so much. He and I love spending time basking in the sun at the park. As for Ansel and Mary, I had completely cut them out of my life. Mary would occasionally call and ask for money. You took everything from us. We've been reduced to nothing. Ansel and I are struggling to make ends meet. We're living in a motel and running out of money. Send us money. You owe us enough to help us out, Mary pleaded. I owe you nothing, and I'm sorry to hear that. I will not be able to help you financially. You and Ansel need to take responsibility for your own lives, I replied firmly. This lazy man has been sitting around doing nothing. I have been working tirelessly to do odd jobs here and there. No one's hiring him, she said, exasperated. Don't rely on me to support you. I told you who your son was, and you said that he was too good for me. You and Ansel need to work together to find a solution, I retorted. I understand and appreciate your apologies, but I can't ever forget the way you treated me. You guys are horrible. You don't know how I'm doing. I have hit rock bottom. Jesse refuses to talk to me. I have nothing in my life. Let me tell you what happened. Please just listen to me, she begged. I didn't want to listen to her talk about Jesse, but I didn't want my son to see me angry and swearing at my mother-in-law. I let her speak, and she told me about a conversation she had with her boyfriend. Jesse, what's going on? You've been acting distant lately, Mary had asked Jesse. I can't be your bank. I thought you were mine. I can't keep pretending that everything is okay between us and keep giving you all the money, Jesse replied. What are you talking about? I thought we were happy together, Mary said, shocked. You're old, and I was with you for your money. I can't do this anymore. I found out that marrying you would never get me the fortune Ava's father left her because you and the pig Ansel are so pathetic, Jesse explained coldly. What? How could you say that? I thought you loved me, Mary cried. I just needed money until I could score a hot chick who's as old as me. Your health keeps declining, and I can't keep up with the medical bills. You were old and expensive to handle, Jesse said harshly. Well, Mary, that's tough, but we are not your enablers. Get a life and do not ever contact me again. It sucks to know you guys are in the worst era of your life and nobody is ready to help you. I hope Ansel gets that job as a janitor, I said, ending the conversation. I blocked her after this and never spoke to her again. I recently found out that my ex-husband finally got a job as a janitor at a school and has been in the worst financial crunch ever. Living paycheck to paycheck is something I can understand, but I have no sympathy. He took advantage of me and my money, and I was so glad this phase was behind me. Mary and Ansel live in a shelter now and will slowly be kicked out onto the streets. Ansel has already lost his place in the shelter and lives under a bridge close to it. Mary has managed to enable her benefits by being an elderly woman to stay in the shelter. As for me, I bought a new home with a different address. I did not want to live in that old house. I have also signed on new clients, and my son and I love swimming, so I bought a home with a pool and a yard to play with my sunshine. Hello, my friends. I'm Natalie, and I live in LA with my husband. I have a 26-year-old daughter who recently got married, but it was quite dramatic. I'm just happy she's finally settled. Her husband, Victor, is a nice guy, and I'm sure he'll take good care of her. I had an ex-husband who works in a corporate office. I was already working at a local pharmacy when he got that job. He was always very relaxed and indifferent, like the typical man, while I was the typical woman. We fell in love quickly and got married. But our marriage became boring over time. He'd leave for work early, come back, talk a little, and then go to sleep. I don't understand why people like this want to get married. Our relationship had no middle ground. It was either extreme love with parties and gifts or cold silence. I expected a typical love marriage that would start fresh and fade as we got used to it, but I didn't expect such extremes. When Robert and I tried to have a baby, I had many complications and miscarriages. The doctor told us that Robert had an untreated condition his parents had ignored, making him sterile. I wasn't hurt, but Robert couldn't handle it. He felt humiliated and stormed out of the clinic. When I got home, he wasn't there. He came back late at night. "Where were you?" I asked. "With James and Colby." "Why?" "Because you were mad at what the doctor said." "Are you a child, Robert?" "Don't bring that up. I don't care what he says. We will keep trying, okay?" "Are you insane? I've gone through enough pain. I can't do this again, please." "Then what do you want from me, woman?" "I'm asking you to consider other possibilities. We can try IVF or adopt. There's a beautiful orphanage nearby. We could visit together." "Do you hear yourself? You want someone else's sperm inside you? The baby might not look like me, and I don't want someone else's child. We don't know how they'll turn out. Let's take a break and try again." "How pathetic. You took a vow for me. You are hilarious. When you said you loved me, you probably lied to my face. You're sleeping on the couch tonight." I ended the conversation and went to our room, slamming the door. I couldn't believe Robert's poor thinking. He never showed this side of himself before. If he had, I would have thought differently. I always believed marriage should bring happiness and fulfillment, but my experience with Robert shattered those expectations. We were married for 3 years, and despite everything, a dark cloud always hung over our relationship. The pain of infertility became an insurmountable barrier, shadowing our dreams of starting a family. Robert was against adopting or trying IVF, and this gradually destroyed my happiness. I yearned for the joy of motherhood, the sound of children's laughter in our home. "Are you going on another trip? Didn't you say the last one was it?" "I need to clear my head. Why don't you go to your mother's for a while? Maybe a woman-to-woman talk will help you think rationally. Plus, you need a break from all this." "And where are you going this time?" "The Maldives. A friend of a colleague has a nice hotel and invited him and his friends. So, I booked a ticket. I hit the jackpot. He said he'd pay for everything. I just need to cover the extras not included." "Did you ever consider that your wife might need a trip too?" Robert glanced at me slightly, his fork paused, his eyes sharply observing the table. "Where's the soap? And the pasta isn't salted. Can you give me some, Robert?" "I'll just shut up. The problem is with me, okay? I'm in more pain than you. Why do you keep whining in my ears like a spoiled 6-year-old? "Oh, how mature of you, Robert. Do you even see what I'm going through? I try to take care of your needs and everything else. I've given my all. What are you giving me?" Robert glared at me, then took his plate and went to the couch to watch TV. I sat there silently, contemplating my future with a man who doesn't care about my feelings. My friend Lola has always been a constant support. She came to visit me when Robert was at work. "I'm so happy you took a day off today. We needed this," she said. "Yeah, I guess. So, how's everything with Robert?" I sighed, feeling like I always dragged her into my mess. "Natalie, you've seemed distant lately. Is everything okay between you and Robert?" "It's been hard, Lola. Ever since Robert found out he's sterile, he's become emotionally distant. It's like he's lost his sense of self and shut me out." Lola placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. "I can only imagine how difficult this must be for both of you. Infertility can take a toll on even the strongest relationships. Have you talked to him about how you feel?" "I've tried, but he shuts down whenever I bring it up. He's built this wall around himself, and I don't know how to break through it."
Lola's eyes were full of empathy. "Natalie, it's important to remember that Robert is dealing with his grief and feelings of inadequacy. He might need time to process his emotions, but that doesn't mean you have to face this alone. I miss the connection we used to have. We were always there for each other, and now it feels like he's slipping away." "You're right to feel that way, Natalie. Sometimes people need a reminder of the love and support they have. Have you considered couples therapy? It might help bridge the gap between you two." "I never thought about that. Maybe therapy could provide the space we need to heal together." "Thank you, Lola. I needed this perspective." When I talked to Robert about therapy, he got more agitated. "So now I'm one of your gossip topics, huh?" "You're getting me wrong. I just needed to vent, and Lola is a nice girl. She would never make a big deal about it." "Talking about my vulnerabilities to other people is not funny, Natalie. You know how I feel about that, yet you still did it." "I'm sorry, but can you please not yell at me? I was really worried about you and just wanted to help. I love you."
If you did, you wouldn't have done this. He didn't have dinner that night and went straight to sleep. A few days later, as he was getting ready for his trip, he told me his mom was unwell and needed to stay with us. We have 2 bedrooms. She can stay in the guest room, he said. I'm not upset about it, but it'll be hard for me to manage everything since I have a job too. Well, hire a nanny then. That would be an extra cost. Don't worry about the money, Natalie. I'll cover it. But that never happened. Robert was transferred to a new office in New York. He said he'd call and visit, but I felt our marriage was ending. I wanted to spend a proper evening together, so I took him out for dinner. We had fun, but also felt strained. A few days later, he left me and his mother moved in with me. She was old and had quite an attitude, making the nanny's job difficult. I was getting tired and needed a break. One night, I went clubbing and met Louis. I never thought I'd find myself in an extramarital affair. But life surprises you. It was a breezy evening when we first met. There was an instant connection between us. He had a magnetism that drew me in, and as the night progressed, our conversations became deeper. Louis made me feel seen, desired, and alive in a way that had long been absent from my marriage. Why are you still with him? You are stunning, Natalie, and deserve someone who adores you. Your husband sounds like a total dashaback. No offense. I don't know. Maybe it's because I love him, or think I still love him. I understand he's going through a lot, but he should know he's not alone. I am here and have never forced him into anything. He doesn't like the idea of a youth or adoption, but I don't get it. What's so wrong with seeking a different alternative? I asked. Damn, his personality screams insecure, Louis replied. Well, some guys just don't like considering their partners as equals. When was the last time he made any effort for you? He goes on frequent trips, right? Did he ever invite you to any of them? That says a lot, Natalie. I'm not here to encourage you to leave him, but maybe it's time you stop fighting for something that isn't worth it. If I were in your place, I would ditch him right then and there. It's not as simple as you think, Louis. His mother is involved now, and I have to take care of her. Oh, I hate this. Why me? I lamented. Hey, you were in a club, right? Just have fun while you're here. Let's have a good time. I have the perfect idea. I have my car. Let's go for a midnight drive. Really? Are you sure? Yeah. Your nanny is taking care of your mom, so you don't have a curfew. Come with me, we'll get some greasy fast food, lie under the stars and talk. Sounds good. Sounds cute. I don't mind at all. As time went on, our encounters became more frequent. Our stolen moments were filled with giggles and whispered confessions. The affair became a dangerous dance, a delicate balance between the guilt that gnawed at my conscience and the intoxicating allure of forbidden love. Meeting in secret locations hidden from prying eyes only added to its charm. Each encounter left me craving more, but the guilt weighed heavily on me. I couldn't resist the magnetic pull toward Louis. The consequences began to sink in when Robert video called me. The guilt I carried seeped into every aspect of my life. I saw the pain in Robert's eyes, the growing distance between us, and the erosion of trust. I wanted to end the affair and remain friends with Louis, but when I went to his apartment, I was overwhelmed by his charm. He welcomed me with a warm smile, and as we talked and had a few drinks, I ended up kissing him. That was it. I had made a mess. After that night, I completely cut off Louis. He called me multiple times, but I couldn't face him. One day, when I was leaving for work, Louis was waiting outside my house. He stood in front of me, blocking my way. Please, Natalie, I'm sorry. I got carried away. I know I made a big mistake. I swear it wasn't my intention. I thought we were having a nice night. It wasn't your fault. I was the one who kissed you. I am the one with no self-control, I said. Hey, look, I didn't mind. I understand what you're going through. You know nothing about me. Don't even try. I had the most amazing night with you. I can forget it. Be with me. I can keep you happier. Maybe I don't earn as much as Robert, but I can make you content. That man doesn't deserve you. I'm still married, Louis. Please don't ask for something I can't give you. And please don't meddle with my matters. Let's forget this ever happened. I broke his heart that day. I pushed away the man who could have probably saved me, but I knew it wasn't the right time. 2 weeks later, I took a pregnancy test and found out I was pregnant. I was both happy and shattered. I knew this was Louis's child. If Robert ever found out, I shuddered at the thought. I decided to keep it a secret. When Robert found out, he was shocked beyond imagination. He kissed me, hugged me, and spun me around, calling it a miracle. He threw a huge gender reveal party. I didn't know how to feel. Louis tried to contact me many times, but I avoided him. You did what? Please tell me you're joking. When did this happen? Lola asked, shocked. It's a long story, Lola. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to do. Robert has no clue about this. Not even the nanny knows. Just you. I don't have the nerve to say anything to anyone. What about Louis? Should I tell him? I can if you want me to. Would that be a good idea? Depends on if you like him, but I would advise you to just go on with whatever is happening. Don't overthink it. There is always a right time for everything. For now, keep it a secret. Years went by, and our daughter Josie grew up unaware of everything. She always knew Robert as her father. Robert didn't change much as he got older. He was still the same. He only talked to Josie and sometimes made fun of me in front of her. Every time I asked him why he did that, he said it was harmless. He created an invisible wall between us. The weight of my secret grew heavier with each passing day, suffocating me under its immense burden. I watched Robert interacting with Josie, hoping my indiscretion would remain hidden forever, sparing us all from the unimaginable pain that would follow. As more years went by, the facade I had carefully constructed began to crumble, and I knew the time for secrets had come to an end. We were planning Josie's wedding. Time flies. One day, they were sitting in the living room when I entered and asked Josie to excuse us. Maybe because I was shaking a lot, Josie left immediately. What is it, hon? Something wrong? Well, if you have nothing to say, there are a few things I need to discuss. First of all, my salary has been cut. His voice faded in my head. Jesus, did you even hear what I said? My money has been cut down. We need to save up. How much do you have in your bank? Also, my mother's allowances. Can you please shut up? I have something to tell you. I interrupted. With a heavy heart and trembling hands, I confessed the truth to Robert, laying bare the web of lies that had ensnared us both. The anguish in his eyes mirrored the pain that now consumed me. The man who had never truly loved and supported me had been betrayed in the most unforgivable way. I forced myself to forget Louis, but deep down, I knew I loved him. He wrote me an email every year asking how I was doing. All I could say to him was to forget me. It felt unfair to Louis. You did what? You heard it. I don't want to repeat it. You're telling me that Josie isn't my daughter? No, she isn't. Then whose daughter is she? Which brat did you sleep with? Tell me. That is none of your business. Robert stood up violently, shaking the objects on the table. Josie heard the noise and came running, startled by the sudden shift in tension. What on earth? Why are you two fighting? Why don't you ask your filthy mother who your real father is? Come on, Natalie. Tell your beloved daughter who you slept with years ago. Josie, please, I will explain everything later. No, you will explain everything now, sentence by sentence. I want her to witness what a filthy mother you are. Dad, please stop saying things like that to her. I want things to be settled peacefully. I'm extremely confused and stressed right now. First, tell me, why did you do this? Why did you cheat on me? You were a terrible husband to me all those years. You were nothing but a self-righteous, arrogant, unsupportive, egotistical, and unsympathetic man. All you did was protect your pride, but look where that ended up. You know what? I don't regret a single thing I did. He was twice the man you could ever be. Robert was so enraged he wanted to lunge at me, but the nanny and Josie both defended me. Ultimately, he left the house in a burst of anger. The next day, he sent an email saying he wouldn't fund anything for Josie's wedding and wouldn't attend. I felt extremely bad for Josie, but I knew I had the willpower to make her wedding a success. I couldn't hold it in any longer. I contacted Louis and told him everything. I made simple arrangements and knew how to give Robert a lesson. A week later, I called Robert. Why the hell are you calling me? I've already told you I am not. Oh no, I just called to say that I dismissed the nanny. Your mother is probably alone right now, and I have left with my stuff, so the house is yours. Do whatever you want. I just don't give a damn. Wait, what do you mean you left? And what about Mom's allowance? Not my headache anymore. She is a pathetic person anyway, gave the nanny an extremely hard time. Plus all the bills and stuff will be paid by you from now on. I am not doing it. You escaped your marriage and responsibilities all these years. Now, let it come and bite you back. Wait a second, Natalie. Honey, please, you know my expenses have gone down. I know, just like I said, it is none of my business. Goodbye, Robert. I cut the call. The tragic tale ends here. Louis and I met at a pub again, and it was so happy to see him. He was still the same, bubbly, cheery, and romantic. We both planned Josie's wedding. It was done at a fantastic location. Though the venue was small and compact, it was warm and filled with people we genuinely loved. We had a joyous celebration with food, music, dance, and a lot of jumping around. Robert kept calling me, but this time when I ignored his calls, I felt no guilt whatsoever. I was with my daughter and the man I loved most. The most beautiful part was that I could reunite Josie with her true father, who walked her down the aisle. I know I have a lot of explaining to do, but all that can wait for another time.
Hey everyone, I have another story to share from a fellow victim. Don't worry, I got some good revenge on the person who wronged me. In this case, it was my husband. I'll use fake names so people don't get recognized. I'm Ray, and my husband is Darren. People used to call us the perfect couple because we had a good relationship and a decent marriage. But after we got married, Darren started having issues with me. He refused to take me to his work parties and didn't want me to mix with his friends. He worked in a high position with lots of fancy friends and clients while I was running a small but growing business and also worked at a charity foundation, which he didn't like. He felt I wasn't good enough for his circle. I have low self-esteem and confidence, so his behavior hurt me. I didn't stand up for myself and stayed with him for too long. Now, let me tell you how I ended up divorcing Darren. It all started when I reconnected with an old school friend, Lena, at a school reunion. Her husband, Jeremy, is a very successful businessman and a millionaire. Lena invited me to a big party her husband was organizing. I agreed and told her Darren had been wanting to meet Jeremy for work purposes. Lena said she'd put in a good word for us. When I told Darren about it, he was thrilled. He said, "This is my chance to shine, ARI. This invitation is a sign from God. I'm going to get that promotion and make Jeremy our official client. I'm so happy." Lena said she'd help us too. "This party will change my life for the better." I was happy to help Darren, but he didn't appreciate it. In fact, he did something worse. Just a few minutes before the party, I was trying on a dress I bought for the event. I'm not usually a dressy person and mostly wear work formals and casual clothes. I knew none of those would be suitable for a grand party, so I ordered a dress online. It fit perfectly and I felt beautiful in it. I called Darren to see it, hoping he would be proud of me since he always complained about me not dressing up more. I thought this time he would be proud of me, but his reaction wasn't what I expected. He looked blank and said, "Why did you suddenly buy a dress?" "I bought the dress for the party, of course." "Do you like it?" "I think I look really good. You always complain that I don't dress up. How do I look now?" "Well, you look decent, I guess, but there was no reason to buy a dress for the party." "Why not, Darren? I know it's just one party, but I haven't been to anything this big before. We can't look out of place now, can we? I want to look my best." Darren made a face but didn't say much. He also didn't properly compliment the dress. His reaction made me feel insecure, and I started to doubt myself. Darren was making my confidence dip dangerously low. Still, I straightened my back and said, "Is there a problem with the dress, Darren? Do I look bad?" "I doubt that a dress will make you blend in with them, AORI. Don't you think it would be a good idea for you to skip this party? I don't know what you'll do there." "Of course, I'm going to the party. Lena would be expecting me there. I'm also very excited to meet her husband. You do know that he's a millionaire, right? This party is going to be filled with all sorts of high-profile people. I don't think that is something you would like." "Why won't I like it, Darren? How do you know that I won't end up making friends there? I'm pretty sure I will be able to hold my own with them." "Well, I don't think so, AORI. You're just not their type. All the men there have smart and beautiful wives, and I doubt you'll be able to blend in with them." "What on earth are you trying to say, Darren? You know well enough that most of the men there have trophy wives. The others who don't have the best-looking wives have partners who work in high-paying jobs and are on a different level altogether." "Exactly, Darren. I'm pretty sure there will be people who would be interested in talking about more than just beauty. I can hold my own in that segment too. I can always talk about my business and my life." "Oh please, ARA, don't tell me you're planning to talk about your stupid business. I'm sure you will bore them with all your talk about your stupid business." I felt hurt and slighted when Darren said those words. First, he indirectly called me ugly, and then he belittled my business. He had always been somewhat disinterested in my business, but this was the first time he openly called it stupid. He had concerns about me not making enough money through it, but those comments had died down recently. Now I understood that it was probably because he was busy with work and didn't have time for me. But now that we had to go somewhere together,
These thoughts were back in his head. Instead of giving up completely or causing a scene, I calmly said, "You might find my business uninteresting, but that doesn't mean everyone else will.
Besides, you do remember that I work at a charity foundation as well. Going there will help me get sponsors." "You are not being serious right now, Ari. Are you telling me that you will be trying to get sponsors for your charity foundation at the party?" "Yes, it is a great opportunity to meet new sponsors. Like you said, there will be a lot of rich and influential people there. I can't miss that chance, and I doubt I will attend another party like this in the near future." Darren closed his eyes and released an exasperated sigh. He looked like he was holding back and trying not to yell at me. I was honestly starting to feel weirded out by his reactions. It was just downright bizarre. I had no idea what his problem was or why he didn't want me with him. I didn't ask anymore because he stood up and left the room. His entire reaction and behavior were both confusing and irritating. I couldn't even feel happy about the dress anymore. My mood was ruined, and I started to have a lot of self-doubt. In the past, I didn't let Darren's words get to me. He had excluded me from parties before, always thinking I wouldn't enjoy them. I begged him to take me to at least one, but he always left without me. This was the first time I was going to attend a party with him, and I wasn't going to let my insecurities get the best of me. When I talked to Lena about it, she just laughed and said, "You and your husband are overthinking, Ari. I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun at the party. But will anyone even want to talk to me? I'm not a high-profile guest like the rest of your guests. I don't want to feel out of place and be a sore spot at your party." "You're worrying too much, Ari. Nothing like that will happen. I'll be there, so you have nothing to worry about." "But Lena, you can't be with me all the time. This is your party, and you are the host. You'll have to meet and greet everyone." Darren usually goes off and does what he wants. I don't want to be left alone with no one to talk to. We're not snobby and uptight people, Ari. In fact, I have a lot of friends who are dying to meet you. I've told them all about your business and charity foundation. They're really interested in knowing more. Jeremy has been hinting at becoming a sponsor too. You absolutely need to be there. That was all she needed to say to convince me to go to the party. Getting sponsors for my charity was very important to me. It was the main reason I wanted to be there. Knowing that a literal millionaire was interested in my foundation, nothing was going to stop me. Besides, Lena was a good friend, and I knew she would try to introduce me to potential sponsors. I had to take this chance. I would deeply regret it if I didn't go. Days passed, and Darren didn't bring up the party again, though he made some weird comments about how I should rethink my plans and how useless it would be for me to attend. I ignored these comments or gave one-word replies, saying I had already thought it through and would be going. Eventually, the day of the party arrived, and Darren was a little annoyed at me for not backing down. He looked irritated as he went to get the car, but when I climbed in after he pulled it out of the driveway, he looked normal. I stupidly thought he finally saw how unfair he was being. Due to Darren's improved mood, we had some light conversation about mundane things. We were almost 30 minutes away from the party when Darren suddenly pressed the brakes. The car stopped at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. He told me to go get him a soda from the shop while he got some gas for the car. I didn't think anything of it and went to grab the soda. I even got some candies for him as a treat. When I came back out, I saw that Darren was done getting gas and was waiting. However, when I tried to pull the door handle, I saw that it was locked. I was very confused and kept trying to open it. I banged on the glass lightly and Darren rolled down his window a little. "I can't open the door, Darren. I think it's locked from the inside. Can you unlock it so I can get in?" "I don't think so, Ari. I know the door is locked because I locked it. I'm not opening it for you." "What? But why? Why are you doing this? Is this a prank?" "Don't do this, Darren. We'll be late for the party." I was really confused. Darren is a serious man and doesn't like joking around, so it was unlikely that he was pranking me. However, it was the only sane reason I could think of. There had to be an explanation for why Darren was acting this way. Much to my dismay, Darren confirmed that he was serious. "You really should have taken the hint and stayed at home. I kept dropping hints for days, but you were adamant about going. If you had listened to me, I wouldn't have had to do this." "What on earth are you saying, Darren? Are you telling me that you don't want me to go to the party? This is ridiculous." "You were right about the party, Ari. I don't want you to go to the party, let alone with me. What is the problem, Darren? Why are you doing this?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My own husband, the man who I thought loved me unconditionally, was telling me that I was an embarrassment to him. In the course of a week, he called me plain, average, boring, unsuccessful, and embarrassing. My mind was crowded with his negative depiction of me, and my self-esteem took a hit. I had tears in my eyes when I said, "You think that I am embarrassing? What are you even saying, Darren? What have I ever done to make you embarrassed?" "Oh, no, ARA. It's not like you never embarrassed me. I simply didn't give you a chance to do that. That's exactly why I don't want to take you to my work parties and such. But there has to be an explanation, Darren. What have I ever done? Why are you so embarrassed with me?" "Really, ARA? I have to tell you that as well. Where do I even start? You're just a plain, average-looking girl who doesn't belong in these circles. Then you keep talking about your stupid business and your irritating charity foundation. It's just straight up embarrassing." "So you think me working for charity is embarrassing? And you think I am a plain, useless woman who hasn't done anything in life? Someone who's not worthy of your status, is that what you're saying?" "Those are your words, not mine. I can't change my wife, but I can sure save my reputation by not taking her to upscale parties. Now, I've had enough of this chit-chat. Step away from the car because I will be leaving. This party is important, and I don't want to be late and leave a bad impression. You just text your friend that you won't be coming. I'll tell her that you're sick." With that, Darren drove away so quickly that all I could do was watch. After the things he just told me, I wasn't sure I wanted him to go to the party anymore. I was so much in shock that I didn't know what to do. I sat down on a bench at the gas station and started to cry. All my pain kept pouring out of me in the form of tears. I was so hurt and felt so humiliated that I didn't know how to calm myself down. I realized that Darren was hiding me from others because he was embarrassed by me. I was being cast aside and hidden for years because he didn't think I was on his level or worthy enough to mix with elite society. The fact that the love of my life would demean me so much was a punch to my gut. I sat there, pondering about my life and lamenting what I knew was the end of my marriage. However, after a while, I realized that if I didn't go to the party, I would be proving Darren right. I quickly pulled out my cell phone and called Lena. When she picked up, I said, "I'm so sorry for disturbing you, Lena. I had to call you because this is urgent." "It's not a problem at all, ARA. Most of the guests haven't even arrived yet. Tell me what's wrong. You don't sound good." "My husband has just abandoned me after 30 minutes from the party venue, Lena. I'm standing at the gas station somewhere on the highway. I couldn't believe Darren would leave me in such an unsafe place." After telling Lena everything, she was pretty angry at Darren and said, "I can't believe the audacity of that man, ARA. I don't know why you married such a fool. Don't you worry, I'm sending you a car right now. I will give you my driver's phone number as well." "Thank you so much, Lena. I'll go stay inside the shop till your driver arrives. You've been such a huge help." "Oh, please don't even mention it. I just want you to reach the venue safely. As for your husband, I think you should take some action against him. This was just horrible." "I know, Lena. I'm already doing a lot of thinking. There is no way I will ever forgive him for this. He can just leave me while he goes and enjoys the party." "Oh, ARA, he will never get to enjoy the party now. You were our guest, remember? Your husband is only a +1. He won't be allowed inside the venue without you. I would have let him in if you genuinely couldn't come out of your own will. But now that I know the truth, he will never get in. That is, until you say the words. You know what, Lena? Let him stay outside. He doesn't deserve this invite. For once in his life, I will put him in his place." I was raging mad now, and Lena just laughed. She was really glad that I was standing up for myself. I hung up and quickly sent her my location. Her driver was at the gas station within 20 minutes. I got into the car, and as I was nearing the venue, I got a call from Darren. It was almost an hour since he had dropped me off at the gas station. I picked up the phone, knowing full well why he was calling. "Why is the security at the venue not letting me in? Did you send me the right QR code?" "Yeah, Darren, I did send you the right QR code. That's not the reason why you have been denied entry." "I don't understand. They're telling me that I cannot enter the venue on my own." "They're right about that, Darren. What makes you think you can attend the party without me? You were not the one who got invited." "What do you mean, ARA?" "I mean that you never got an invite. The QR code you scanned was my invite. You were meant to be my +1. You never got a real invite to attend the party on your own." Darren was silent for a few seconds before he started to speak. I quickly hung up because I was already at the venue. The car I was in was a shiny new BMW, so I arrived at the party in style. When I walked up to the main entrance, I saw Darren having an argument with the guards.
When he saw me, he quickly came up to me and said, "There you are, Ara. I was waiting for you. Let's go inside now that you're here. There won't be any problems with me going in." "What makes you think I will go in with you?" "Last I remember, you intentionally stranded me at an unknown location so that you could attend this party on your own." "I made a mistake, Ara. Let's not drag this out right now. You're here, so everything is well. Let's just go in and do our work." "No, Darren. I will go on and do my work that you think is boring and embarrassing. You will stay outside or go back home." "No, Ara, please don't do this. Jeremy is an important client to me. I can't miss this opportunity." "What makes you think Jeremy will be your client after this?" "Lena knows everything, and I'm pretty sure she will tell Jeremy not to do business with you." Darren had never considered this to happen. He was so sure that he could go to the party that I got invited to, and then charm my friend's husband into being his client by using my name. Well, he got to do nothing of the sort. He begged and pleaded with me. He even said that he would lose his promotion if he lost Jeremy as a client. Did I give in to his demands as always? Well, no. This time, I did what I could do to stand up for myself. I entered the venue solo and denied him entry as a +1. Security was already informed by Lena, so they didn't allow Darren in after me. In the end, he had to drive back home. I had a blast at the party and went home in Lena's BMW. Darren was already home and looked ready for an argument or an apology. I didn't get to find out because I told him upfront that we would be separating soon. While Darren took in that shock, I shut myself in my room after several rounds of crying and begging. Darren learned the hard way that behaving like a bad husband would make him a divorced man. Yes, we got a divorce after all, and yes, he did lose the promotion as well. Meanwhile, I made some great contacts at the party and now regularly get called for almost all of their events. I made some great friends and colleagues while also getting out of a toxic marriage all at one party. Jane, always felt that my mother-in-law, Dora, didn't like me. She was always very rude to me, even when I was dating my now husband, Vincent. I tried for a long time to get on her good side because Vincent was close to his mom, and I wanted us to have a good relationship. However, I soon realized that Dora had no intention of sharing her son with anyone. Dora's behavior always confused me. I had no idea why she was so cold to me until Vincent explained the situation. "I'm sorry my mom is so mean to you," he said. "I know you must be wondering what you did wrong, but you didn't do anything. Then why is she so critical of me? I tried so hard to win her over. Your dad is such a good sport, but Dora seems determined to push me away." "I know you tried your best, Jane. The thing is, Mom is very possessive of me. She's always been this way. Dad travels a lot for work and is out of state most of the time now, so Mom has relied on me a lot for companionship. So that's why she is so attached to you. Why didn't she talk with Leo about the problem?" Dad did try to convince her to move near his work, but she didn't want to leave this city. I guess she thought I was enough for her. After a while, she didn't need Dad anymore. If Leo was neglectful, why didn't she divorce him? Dad wasn't neglectful, Jane. He did his best to be with us. Mom always wanted more. She's financially dependent on him and doesn't want to go back to work, so she stayed. After my talk with Vincent, I had a clearer picture of the situation. I started to become wary of Dora. I sympathized with her for being lonely, but I could see she did nothing to help herself and simply depended on Vincent to fulfill her emotional needs. Despite this, I still tried to establish a relationship with Dora. Dora was convinced I was just a temporary person in Vincent's life. Everything changed when Vincent proposed to me. Dora couldn't accept that he was getting married and became even more hostile towards me. "You cannot marry her, Vincent. She is not right for you. I am sure she is with you for money. I know her type very well. I bet she is using you and fooling around with someone else," she said. "Mom, why would you say something like that?" Vincent responded. "Just marry her, and I'll prove it to you," she snapped back. I was baffled and increasingly annoyed by Dora's behavior. Her accusations were humiliating. Vincent apologized for her actions, but I knew he wasn't responsible for her behavior. Despite this, her words stuck with me. Leo, Vincent's dad, was super happy for us and reacted much better than Dora. Vincent told me to give her some time. A month after our engagement, Dora showed up at our house with a smug expression. Vincent was home and came down to see what was going on. "Vincent, remember when I said Jane is using you? Today, I got proof. She has been fooling around with multiple men. Here, take a look at these chats," Dora said. "Mom, you have to be joking. Where did you even find these chats? Vincent asked. Are you kidding me? These are not even real chats. Vincent, take my phone and check it. You know I passworded everything. I have nothing to hide, I said. I know you didn't cheat, Jane. Mom, why are you doing this? I can see the chats are fake. There's even a watermark on the app at the bottom, Vincent pointed out. Are you blind, Vincent? She wants you all to herself to enjoy your money, Dora insisted. Mom, we have been very patient with you. I can't believe I asked Jane to put up with your behavior and give you time. You're embarrassing me and insulting my fiancé. You need to apologize to her, Vincent demanded. There is no way I'm apologizing. I'm telling you the truth. You'll believe me someday, and when you do, I'll be here for you. For now, I'll tell everyone how much of a cheater your new fiancé is, Dora said before leaving. We were both dumbfounded by the whole situation. Dora was crossing her limits, and it was time to set some boundaries. Before I could talk to Vincent, he said, I am so sorry, Jane. I had no idea my mom would be so cruel to you. I really thought she would come around once she saw how happy I was. I didn't mean for you to get hurt, Vincent said. It's not your fault, Vincent. Thank you for believing in me, but Dora has crossed all limits today. We need to go low contact with her. I can handle her being rude, but she's out to ruin my image, I replied. You're right, Jane. We do need to go low contact with Dora. I guess this is the best option right now. I'll go talk to her tomorrow. Vincent agreed. We decided to keep everything a secret from Leo. He was a man of strong ethics and would not have taken Dora's behavior lightly. None of us wanted to inform him about the situation to avoid unnecessary stress. We thought we could handle her tantrums, but we were wrong.
After Vincent told Dora about the low contact, she threw a major tantrum. Thankfully, I wasn't there to witness it. Seeing her outburst, Vincent doubled down and threatened to uninvite her from the wedding. That shut her up quickly. He came home furious with Dora, but he knew he couldn't cut her off completely because she was still his mother. Vincent's threats helped us have an uneventful wedding. I actually expected Dora to show up in a wedding dress, but she didn't do anything even remotely problematic. I realized that Leo's presence and judgment kept her from trying to spoil our wedding. However, she started to cause trouble again as soon as Leo went back to work. Dora would constantly show up at our house unannounced, trying to spend time with us. She was determined to break our low-contact requests. Vincent tried to keep her at bay, but her emotional outbursts made him feel guilty. Some of Dora's family members criticized us for abandoning her, which made Vincent waver in his decision to stay low contact. However, he was quick to defend me when necessary. Life moved painfully slow with Dora's constant presence, but things improved when I found out I was pregnant. It was an amazing day filled with great memories. However, we both dreaded telling Dora. Our fears were justified when Dora went nuts at our announcement. You witch, you baby-trapped my son. He will never get out of your clutches now. Jane, you're wrong. I know this child can't be his. You haven't even been married for a year. Dora, that makes no sense. People can get pregnant within a year of getting married. It doesn't mean I cheated on him. Besides, why do you keep accusing me of cheating? I asked. Because you're a worthless girl. You don't work and married my son for money. Do you think he'll cut me off for you? That will never happen. Vincent, you need to do something right now. I know this is not your baby, she ranted. Mom, why the hell would you say that again? We already talked about this. How can you be so blind? Jane is not a gold digger, Vincent shouted. I was starting to get very upset, so Vincent decided to kick her out. But Dora didn't stop there. She told everyone in our extended family that I cheated and claimed she had proof. We faced a lot of backlash from them. The situation was so tense that I was getting sick from the stress. Vincent dealt with the situation while I rested. Dora was awfully quiet during my pregnancy. She refused to acknowledge me and our child, even returning our baby shower invite. I couldn't believe the audacity of this woman. I was relieved to finally be free from Dora's intrusive presence and cruel remarks. But luck wasn't on our side when she showed up at the hospital right after our son was born. Vincent hoped she had come to her senses, so he introduced our son to her. Hey, Mom, meet your grandson. Isn't he cute? Vincent said. Oh my God, he looks like a monkey. He can't be my grandson. I knew you would cheat on my son, Jane. You are a good-for-nothing gold digger. I demand you take a DNA test, Dora exclaimed. Mom, what are you saying? This is ridiculous. This is my child, your own blood. Why are you being so mean to Jane? Vincent protested.
You, dear, look nothing like us. I told you our family has the most beautiful children. This cannot be yours at all. You need to divorce her, Dora insisted. What is wrong with you, Dora? This is your grandson. Why do you need a DNA test? Your child looks nothing like me. Oh, my son, if you're so sure of its paternity, why don't you take a DNA test? I countered. Fine, if this is what you want, I will take one. But don't blame me when you have to face consequences for your behavior today. You should be more worried about what my son will do once he finds out the child is not his. Anyway, I will be off preparing the divorce papers so that it becomes easier for him. It's my duty as his mother to be prepared on his behalf, she said before leaving. I was exhausted from giving birth and having a hard time digesting her words. I simply broke down and cried. Vincent rushed to comfort me. Jane, please don't cry. I don't believe a word that comes out of her mouth. I know he is mine. You love me and won't do this to me. I trust you. We don't have to take the DNA test, Vincent said. No, Vincent, I will take the DNA test. All these years, Dora has accused me of a lot of things. Half of your family thinks I am an evil witch. It's time I gave her my reply. I want revenge. She insulted our child. I will destroy her life, I declared. Are you sure about this, Jane? Look, I don't want Mom around us anymore. We can just cut her off. There's no need for a DNA test or anything else. She doesn't deserve to have a relationship with us, Vincent suggested. No, Vincent, I will not leave her the opportunity to twist the narrative. Her true nature needs to be shown to everyone. Plus, I need to prove myself to the people who doubted me, I insisted. Fine, if that's what you want. We will do it. Mom needs to be punished for trying to break us up. After what she said about our baby, she doesn't deserve a relationship with him either, Vincent agreed. So, we both agreed to go through with the DNA test. After Dora left to draw up my divorce papers, Leo came to visit me. He flew back to our city when he heard I was in labor. Leo was absolutely in awe of our child. That's when I took the opportunity to tell him about Dora. He was completely unaware that his wife was up to no good. Leo, there is something that has been bothering me. I don't know if I can talk to you about this, I began. What's wrong, Jane? You can tell me anything, Leo assured me. Dora has asked for a DNA test. She thinks the baby is not Vincent's child, I revealed. What? Why on earth would she say that? She has been pretty vile about me and the child. I can't believe this, Leo responded in disbelief. But she called our son a monkey. She is adamant he is not her grandchild. What the hell, Jane? That is not acceptable at all. What has even gotten into her? Where is she right now anyway? Lee demanded. She has gone to talk to her lawyer. She said she will prepare divorce papers for me and Vincent, I replied. This is outrageous. I am genuinely confused about what happened to her so suddenly, Leo expressed. That's when I told him everything Dora had done to me, from trying to poison me to faking messages and acting like my lover. Leo heard everything and was absolutely furious. He couldn't believe his wife could be so evil. Why didn't you guys tell me this before? It never should have gotten this far. My God, I never knew Dora was capable of these things. We generally thought she would change. I believe in giving people second chances. I never knew she would turn out to be a lost cause. Vincent now wants to go no contact with her. To be honest, I have been thinking about this as well, Jane. Don't worry, I support your decision entirely. I believe in your character too. But this entire thing has opened my eyes about Dora. I don't think I can be with her anymore. She has gone to draw up your divorce. Well, she is in for a surprise, Leo declared. We ended our conversation there. Leo spent a long while cooing over his grandchild. I was happy to know that at least one of his grandparents loved him. All the same, I wanted to cry thinking about the name Dora called my child. Even Vincent was upset and didn't really feel like himself for the rest of the day. Our day was completely ruined, but I knew Dora would pay for her actions. We went home with our baby just 2 days after he was born. However, the joy of having a child was clouded by the anxiety of dealing with Dora. She had told everyone that I cheated on Vincent and had someone else's child. Everyone listened to her and didn't even show up to see the baby. Vincent was heartbroken and pretty pissed as well. We did send samples for the DNA test and showed the receipt to Dora. She called me and said, "This weekend, everyone will be invited. They need to see how much of trash you are. Be prepared to be humiliated and divorced. I'm sure my son will leave you when he finds out." Are you seriously going to this extent to humiliate me and my child? I can't believe this. You're a vile person, Dora, I retorted. Oh, don't you worry, Jane. I will make sure everyone shuns you and kicks you out of the family. Then I will have Vincent all to myself. We will see, Dora. We will be there at the party. Let's see who gets the last laugh, I replied. Dora ignored me and cut the call. She was pretty excited to have me thrown out of the family. However, she was in for a surprise. We just had to wait till the results got back. Vincent was pretty supportive of me, but I knew he was sad Dora was being such a bad person. The day of the party arrived pretty soon, and so did the DNA results. Dora had actually booked an expensive venue and planned elaborately to celebrate my humiliation. Everyone who saw me stayed away, and no one ever asked about the baby. I left my son with my sister at home ahead of feeling things wouldn't go down well if I wanted to keep him safe. The party started, and even Leo was there. He kept quiet about the allegations and was waiting for me to do my thing. When the last person finally arrived, Dora said, "Thank you for coming. I organized this party to show how much of a gold digger Jane was. I always knew she was with my son for his money. Then she managed to baby trap him with someone else's child," Dora accused. "That is not true at all. Why are you so adamant that I cheated on Vincent? I know all about your extramarital affairs, Jane. It's a shame Vincent refused to believe the proof I sent," Dora continued. "That's because he knew I never cheated. Your accusations are baseless," I defended. "Oh, we will see about that. Vincent might be blinded by you, but he won't be after today. I have prepared the divorce papers for him. Show us the DNA results and we will see what he does." "Prepare to be divorced, woman Jane," Dora challenged. "Let's see what the results are, shall we?" I replied as I showed everyone the DNA results. They were shocked to see that my son was 100% Vincent's boy. Everyone started to loudly express their frustration at Dora. Dora simply looked disbelieved by the results. I narrated. No, that's not possible. I am sure of it." Dora protested. "Who the real father is, cut it out, Mom. I am the real father of the baby. I got the DNA test myself and submitted the samples. Hell, I even chose the clinic so that you don't accuse Jane of bribing them." "You have crossed the line this time," Vincent intervened. "There must be something wrong, Vincent. You have to believe me," Dora pleaded. "No, I am done with you, Mom. Since I married Jane, you have done all sorts of things to taunt her. Because of you, no one even showed up to see our baby. Everyone thinks she is a bad person. This is all because of you. I don't want a relationship with you anymore. You will never see my son after today," Vincent declared firmly. "Vincent, don't leave. You have to believe me. This witch is poisoning you against me." Dora desperately tried to sway Vincent. "That's enough, Dora. I see that you have gone to great lengths to spoil Jane's reputation. You took advantage of the situation while I was gone. I never punished you for your evil schemes. I won't put up with it anymore. I am divorcing you. Here are the papers. I had them prepared while you were busy making divorce papers for Vincent and Jane," Leo stated firmly as he handed Dora the divorce papers. No, you can't divorce me. This is not happening, Leo. Don't do this," Dora pleaded desperately. "And I want you out of my house as soon as possible. Remember that you signed a prenup and won't get anything from me. You are on your own from now on," Leo declared sternly. Dora tried to talk to Leo while everyone jumped into berating her. They also tried to talk to us and apologize. We simply turned around and left. Everyone was quick to abandon us when Dora accused me of cheating. We needed time to decide if we want them back in our life. We told them just that. It just made everyone even more mad at Dora. After the party, things took a 180-degree turn for everyone. Dora was being disowned by everyone around her. Even her friends didn't want to associate with her. Family members reached out to her and apologized for their behavior. They begged us not to cut off access to our child. They also said that they have cut off Dora for good. We asked them for time because we were pretty exhausted by Dora's antics. Leo promptly kicked Dora out and cut off access to their money. He also instructed their family lawyer to not communicate with Dora or help her out. Dora came to our house begging Vincent to forgive her. She also cried about how she was about to be homeless and penniless. Leo was hell-bent on divorcing her. Vincent wanted nothing to do with her as well. He was deeply saddened by what Dora had done to me and our child. We took a break from everything and decided to focus on our new family. Leo visited frequently and was a star grandpa. The baby is doing well, and I am recovering fast as well. Vincent is still sad about his mom but refuses to forgive her ever. We were able to delete her toxic presence from our lives and are much happier now.
Hi everyone, my name's Quinn, and I'm 40 years old. I have quite a story to share. It was supposed to be a joyful day, a family gathering to celebrate our wedding anniversary. My husband Oliver and I decided to invite some family members to our home. We planned to spend some time at a spa getting ready for the celebration while our friends and family decorated our home to make it look spectacular for this special occasion. It was a sweet idea, but my mother-in-law didn't think so. My relationship with her was strained despite my best efforts to get along peacefully. She was always determined to insult and belittle me. Our relationship felt like a battlefield, with Hannah relentlessly attacking my character and worth. Unfortunately, even this special day was no exception to her behavior. After Oliver and I finished at the spa, we were excited to enjoy the day with our family at home. I was a bit nervous about Hannah's potential antics, but hopeful that things would be better, at least on our anniversary. As soon as we walked into our home, I felt a strange chill in the air. Something was definitely off. Instead of being greeted with warm smiles, hugs, and confetti, our friends and family were giving us cold and strange looks. It turned out that these stares were directed only at me, and the harshest look came from my mother-in-law. "Oh, look, it's time to welcome the lovely couple," someone announced. "Hannah, is everything all right? You seem different today. Is something bothering you? What's going on, everybody? Is no one going to congratulate us on our anniversary?" I asked. "Oh, darling, I wish I could congratulate you, but we can't," Hannah replied. "Why not?" I questioned. "Because Quinn is a thief," she declared. "Excuse me." "You heard me, you're a thief," she repeated. "Mom, what's going on?" Oliver asked. "First she stole you away from me, and now she's stolen this house," she accused. "I what?" I was completely shocked. What was she thinking? "Mom, what are you saying right now? This is my home, Ollie, and as such, Quinn can't be here," she insisted. "What on earth is going on with you? Why would you say such an awful thing? I thought we would be welcomed kindly to enjoy our anniversary together, but clearly I was wrong. Your negative energy is ruining everything," I said. "Get over yourself, Quinn. You have no right to be upset. I'm the one who should be throwing a fit here," she retorted. "Mom, I'm not sure what's going on, but please let's talk about this somewhere private." Oliver tried to calm the situation. "No, don't bother. I've already told everyone here everything. I told them the whole truth, and they agree with me. They believe that this house is mine just as you promised me, Ollie," Hannah concluded. "I can explain everything, Quinn. Trust me," Oliver said. "What is there to explain? This house is mine, and I need to set some rules." "Quinn, you are no longer welcome here," Hannah declared. "What? What does this mean?" I asked, shocked. "You have two options. Leave this house right now or get a divorce and give me back my son. It's up to you," she said. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could she be so cruel? I looked at Oliver, who was just as bewildered as I was. "Listen, Mom, I want to salvage this day. It's supposed to be a great celebration, and I don't want your craziness ruining things." Oliver tried to reason. "Craziness? Well, I never," Hannah huffed. "The photographers and caterers are here for a short time. Let's all calm down, take some nice pictures, and enjoy some good food. We can talk about this later," Oliver suggested. Although tensions were high and it felt like Hannah and I were about to recreate a WWE SmackDown scene, I was glad Oliver tried to defuse the situation. We had paid a lot for the celebration, and we couldn't afford to waste it because of Hannah's outbursts. We went outside and tried to enjoy the setting. It was beautiful, with our wedding colors all around to remind us of our special day. The photographer captured moments of us playing games, eating, and enjoying each other's company. However, Hannah's scowling face often appeared in the background, dampening the mood. As the evening unfolded, Hannah's true colors showed more clearly. The icy glances and dismissive remarks were worse than ever. Despite my efforts to build a relationship with her, she pushed me away at every turn. I tried to heed Oliver's words and enjoy the event, but Hannah's negativity was hard to ignore. The rest of the family seemed to let go of the tension and enjoy the festivities, but Hannah remained distant. The celebration ended sooner than planned, partly due to the fiasco at the beginning. Despite this, Oliver and I managed to salvage some good moments, and overall, I had a somewhat decent time. But it was time to address the big issue. I approached Hannah about what happened earlier. "Hannah, I've tried my best to build a relationship with you. I've invited you to spend time together, but it feels like you're pushing me away. What have I done to deserve this hostility?" I asked. "You really don't get it, do you?
Let me spell it out for you, Quinn. My son bought this house for me, not for you. You were never meant to be a part of this family, she said coldly. As I stood there absorbing her hurtful words, I remembered all the times her animosity had affected our lives. The snide remarks, the undermining comments, she always saw me as an outsider. Now, she believed this house was hers, giving her the right to treat me this way. There was one missing piece, Oliver. Hannah claimed he got the house for her, so we needed to involve him. We called Oliver, who was chatting with some relatives. He joined us, ready to address the situation. We need to talk about what happened today. Mom, that was not cool. Oliver started. What do you mean? You literally told me this house is mine, Hannah insisted. I have no recollection of telling you that, Mom, and you know it, Oliver replied. Oliver, you were drunk that night, but I'm sure you remember saying this house is mine and I could do whatever I wanted with it, she argued. Again, Mom, I don't know what you're talking about. Why would I give you this house? Oliver asked. Gee, I don't know. Maybe because you love me, she replied. Of course, I love you, Mom, but the way you tried to embarrass us this morning is not cool. Our anniversary, Hannah, Oliver said. Oh, don't you speak. Do you think you have a say in anything, especially on my property? I could call the police and get you kicked out for trespassing. I already told you, it's either you get out or you get a divorce, Hannah threatened. Mom, even if this was your house, which it isn't, why do you want Quinn out so badly? Oliver asked. Because she disgusts me. Just look at her. I don't want her here, Hannah spat. You don't want me here? Fine, let me pack my things, I said, feeling defeated. Babe, wait, Oliver pleaded. No, I'm sick of waiting. You're also to blame for this, Oliver. I don't know what your mother is talking about, I said, tears in my eyes. It seems like you've had a heavy hand in her feeling so entitled, I said to Oliver. And what's worse, you've been complicit in the abuse I've received from her and done nothing about it. What do you mean? What am I supposed to do? He asked, sounding exasperated. Cut her off. Get a restraining order, I replied. Hannah interjected. You think you can get rid of me so easily? You think Oliver would do such a thing to his mother? You must have lost your mind. Go and pack your things as you said. Chop chop. I began to walk away, furious with how my life had turned out. I had a witch for a mother-in-law and an idiot for a husband. Perhaps this was a blessing in disguise because I seriously needed to leave once and for all. As I walked inside the house, the pain and embarrassment from years of harassment began to flood through me, and my heart sank. That woman really did hate me, and I didn't even know why. I had poured my heart and soul into this marriage, trying to create a sense of unity and love, and now she gave me this stupid ultimatum. As someone who doesn't believe in divorce, it was very hard to even entertain that option, especially when leaving the house just seemed easier. I was sick and tired of all the noise. I had to leave, at least to keep whatever peace was left in this place. Tears streamed down my face as I packed my belongings. It was going to be a long night of weeping and packing, but I was determined to get it done ASAP so that I wouldn't have to see that woman's face for a minute longer. I made my way to the study room, collecting all of my documents, books, and files when I stumbled across the deed to the house. I was shocked and wondered why it was out in the open so casually and carelessly. But thank God it was because as I scanned the documents, I came across something very interesting. I stopped packing, realizing this was too important. I found Oliver and Hannah still outside, arguing. I still don't know what you're talking about, Mom. I never gave this house to you, Oliver was saying. Yeah. Then why do the documents say otherwise? Hannah snapped back. Which documents? Oliver asked, confused. From a distance, I could see Hannah searching her purse for something but unable to find it. Are you looking for these? I held up the documents, making my presence known. She sent me a scowl, but I returned it with extra ferocity. She was so used to my nice demeanor, but I was done playing the nice guy. It was time for me to claim what was rightfully mine. You see, I've gone through these documents, and there's nothing that says you are the owner of this house. In fact, only Oliver and I's names are on the documents.
What? That's impossible. Oliver told me. Hannah stammered. Whatever he told you clearly wasn't correct because I have the real papers right here. Go on, look for yourself. Read it and weep, I said, holding out the documents. Hannah snatched the papers from me and scanned them viciously, searching over and over again for a hint or a glimmer of her name somewhere. But alas, she was wrong. There was no mention of her anywhere on the documents. I don't feel so good, Hannah muttered. To her surprise, her eyes rolled back and she lost her balance. She fainted and hit the ground, knocked out cold. We all gasped as Oliver picked her up and brought her inside. We did our best to fan her and keep her cool until she began to regain consciousness after about a minute. What happened? Where am I? She'd asked, disoriented. You passed out from the shock of realizing the truth, I said. You did this to me, she accused. I didn't do anything to you. I just showed you the truth, I replied. Let me get you some water, and when I come back, we are settling this dispute once and for all. Oliver went to the kitchen while I said goodbye to our remaining guests. After ensuring that Hannah was okay, they left, knowing we had a long night ahead to get to the bottom of everything. Okay, Mom, here you go, Oliver said, handing her a glass of water. Now please tell us everything that you know. It was the night of the Christmas party a couple of months ago. You were drunk, Hannah started. He wasn't just drunk, he was completely wasted. He couldn't even remember his name, I added. Fine, whatever. He was wasted, and he told me that he loved me so much that he wanted us to be closer, Hannah continued. Everyone says that when they're drunk, Mom, Oliver replied. Yes, I know, but you were talking about giving me gifts, she insisted. What gifts exactly? Oliver asked. You were promising to give me trips to the Maldives, Morocco, and Fiji. You also said you'd buy me a new air fryer. And you said you were gifting me this house, she explained. You mean to tell me that your antics today were all based on promises Oliver made when he was absolutely sloshed? Are you insane? Those don't count, I said, incredulous. Oliver looked confused, trying to remember. Then a look of clarity crossed his face. Mom, I'm beginning to remember that night now. I remember saying I'd give you gifts, yes, Oliver said. Ha, you see, Hannah exclaimed. I also remember saying I'd give you a house, Oliver added. What? Hannah said, confused. I told you I'd give you a house, not this house, and I made that very clear, Oliver said. Well, I don't remember that, she stammered. Let's jog your memory a bit then, I said. I ran upstairs to access the security camera footage and brought it back down. Oliver accessed the footage from the Christmas party. There it was, evidence of a very drunk Oliver holding on to his mother, promising her many things, including a house. You said you'd get me a house. Will it be this house? Hannah had asked in the footage. No, not this house. Where would Quinn and I live? Oliver replied. You can take the other house, darling. I want this house, she insisted. I'll get you a house, okay? A house, Oliver repeated. And I'll make sure I put my name on the deed for this house, she had added. What? Oliver had asked, confused. Nothing, dear. I think you need to head to bed, she had said. We looked up from the iPad to see Hannah looking very sheepish, like a child caught shoplifting. So what do you have to say for yourself, Hannah? I asked. Well, I can't. She stuttered. If you knew all along this was your plan, why were you so shocked that you fainted? I asked. Was that all part of your plan to garner sympathy and attention? Oliver added. You weren't even fast enough to catch her, Oliver. How could you let your mother fall to the floor? Hannah tried to deflect. I'd had enough of your antics, Mom. You've taken this way too far. You think it's okay to toy and manipulate people like that? Oliver said, furious. Ollie, baby, Hannah tried to plead. Built baby meat, you deliberately ruined our anniversary because you want this house. Well, you're never going to get it, Oliver declared. What about the other house? She asked, desperate. You're not getting that either. In fact, you're not going to get anything from me anymore. I'm removing you from my will, Oliver stated firmly. Hannah and I both gasped. It was shocking to hear Oliver so angry. He had never been this forceful before. Gwen, I am so sorry that I wasn't firm enough with my mother. I really didn't know her hatred ran this deep, Oliver said to me. Oliver, that's no way to speak to your mother, Hannah interjected. You're in my house, so shut up, Oliver snapped back. Babe, you don't have to apologize, I said. Yes, I do. I didn't do enough. But that changes right here, right now, Oliver insisted. Oliver kicked his mother out of the house. She was flabbergasted, not used to him standing up to her. Fueled by anger and disappointment, Oliver made the bold decision to remove Hannah from his will. The next day, he met with family lawyers to ensure the change was processed. It was a necessary step to protect our future and ensure justice was served.
As the days unfolded, Hannah's bitterness and desperation became evident. She incessantly tried to reach out to Oliver, bombarding him with phone calls and messages. But Oliver remained resolute, determined to protect our marriage and put an end to his mother's manipulative behavior once and for all. Oliver, steadfast in his decision, ignored his mother's attempts to manipulate him once again. He vowed to shield me from any more malicious attacks orchestrated by Hannah or anyone else who dared to harm us. Meanwhile, I reveled in the newfound peace and security of our home. No longer did I have to endure Hannah's constant presence, her belittling remarks, or her attempts to undermine our happiness. The house became a sanctuary, a symbol of our triumph over her deceit. Hannah, on the other hand, found herself in a state of bitter defeat, soaking in the aftermath of her exposed lies. She was left to ponder the consequences of her actions. The house she once envisioned as her domain now stood as a monument to her deception, a fitting reminder of the price she paid for her treachery. In the grand scheme of things, justice had been served. Hannah had been stripped of her false sense of entitlement, while Oliver and I forged ahead, determined to build a future rooted in honesty, communication, compassion, love, and trust. Our bond grew stronger, fortified by the shared experience of overcoming adversity. As time went on, Hannah's attempts to reconcile were met with resolute silence from Oliver. He remained true to his promise of protecting me, ensuring that we could move forward without the looming shadow of her manipulations. It was a promise he kept with unwavering determination. Today, I find solace in the comfort of our home, the home that was meant to be a haven for us. Every corner holds memories of our love and resilience, serving as a constant reminder of the victory we achieved. Hannah's presence is nothing more than a distant memory, fading into the background as we embrace the life we have created. Oliver's resolve to protect me never wavered. He stood as a pillar of strength, shielding me from any potential harm that Hannah might still attempt to inflict upon us. He made it clear to her and to anyone who dared to question our unity that we were a united front, a force to be reckoned with. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Hannah's attempts to reconcile with us diminished. She slowly realized that her deceit and ill intentions had driven an irreparable wedge between us. The consequences of her actions had left a lasting mark on her own life, and she was left to grapple with the bitter aftermath. Meanwhile, our home flourished with love and laughter. The wounds inflicted by Hannah's hurtful words began to heal, replaced by an atmosphere of acceptance and support. Oliver's unwavering commitment to our happiness was evident in every action and every word. Together, we maintained this sanctuary, a place where we could thrive and grow, untouched by the toxicity of the past.